I'll call the meeting to order, the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Convene as the Walworth County Planning and Zoning Board. Is there any old business? Any new business? Shelley?
Yeah, right there. So a guy named Harley Overseth told me to stop by this morning. I would imagine you folks all know him. And he said there is no more planning and zoning commission. Is that correct?
Yep. Talking to us.
Okay, so are you folks all familiar with this property?
Talking about your property?
Yes. Okay. And that would be, I X'd them, these two lots. Okay, New Roberts 5th edition. Okay, so I guess my real question is, what is the normal procedure for this county if you feel there is something wrong with the property, or you'd like to, do you send out a notice? Do you notify somebody as in writing or certified mail that, you find an issue with the property?
It's complaint driven, and then it gets turned over to the state's attorney's office, as it did in your case.
It's complaint driven, so in other words, that's what I need to know. There's no situation where you send out a letter, you write up a...
It's totally at the state's attorney's discretion. You were charged out.
Okay, so did the county know of did you guys know anything about this before I was picked up from my house in Roscoe, South Dakota and thrown in a jail cell?
I guess it's what he calls.
And you just go along with that? Did anyone know about this at all?
Well, I knew what was going on.
You did?
I guess,
It's Walworth
But you're
County
getting at, though,
position that you have a nuisance property. It's currently scheduled for trial July 31st. And my position is, that's a nuisance property. It's been in its state that it's been in now for almost 9 years, with very little done in the last 5 years.
Okay, and do you know the reason for that?
I don't need a reason.
You don't need a reason. Well, okay, so this is what the county platted, and this is what Mr. Flees sold me. This is a dead-end cul-de-sac, okay? And the reason that this house wasn't finished is because I had so much grief from the resort people coming up to that property. I still have it, okay? And the state crime lab came out here when my door got broken down, okay? And I find kids doing donuts on my property with their four-wheelers. I have pictures of this stuff. 10-year-olds who come up from the resort and feel that my personal property is their public property. And, I can't seem to put an end to this. Now, the state, are you familiar with something called the Drunk Road?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so what happened was the state of South Dakota closed down the Drunk Road. Okay, so then Mr. Flees proceeded to move that Drunk Road to a 10-foot area on my south lot line. That was actually, as he has told me, there was a mistake in the surveying, or that would have been my property. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he told me. Anyway, so now the Drunk Road now goes down my south lot line, so that the people from the resort can evade
It's
law.
blocked off. I got a picture of it from
Okay.
last week.
Yeah, okay, now this was the latest and the greatest. So on Saturday, so they blocked off my south lot line, the Drunk Road, with little orange fences, which were torn down, but apparently they were put up again. So now what's happening, and the sheriff's department took pictures of this, is they are now, to evade the fences that have been put up, they're now trespassing on my property. And they're also, I believe.
So who is trespassing on your property?
Well, you can see the road. It's people from the, they go from the bar at the resort, and then, come on, you
I
used to
can't-
live out there.
That's right, I can't charge out someone who I have no idea who they are
Well,
specifically.
the nuisance here is that the resort owner can't keep the people at his resort. And, you know, they have to go from the resort to get back to their house. I mean, I'm sure it's some of the people living back there. They go, because they don't want to hop on the highway when they're drunk.
Okay, but what I'm getting at is, don't you think this is something that you should be taking up in the court? I mean,
Well,
I'm
you know,
not quite
what
sure
I
what you
don't
want
get
us
here,
to do
what I
here.
don't get, the okay, so this is what's been.
There was a cul-de-sac put in there when that place was built.
Correct.
I was there when it was built. so-
Absolutely.
So I guess
Okay.
I'm not following you.
Well,
The current landowner of that property, just because it's been platted, can allow people to drive across this property, whether it's a road or not. That's totally up to him. That has nothing to do with Walworth County.
well, okay, but therein lies the reason, because I'm just gonna ask you, would you put up with a racetrack around your house when you were sold oh, this is gonna be great for privacy, Shelley, it's a dead-end cul-de-sac.
But I think this is something you should take up when you're in court, because I don't think that's something that we
It has
should be-
nothing to do with Walworth
Us.
County, between you and another private individual.
Well, what has to do kind of with Walworth County, I think, is, you know, the number of sheriff's calls I have made and the number of times I have reported things up there. And I'm here to tell you the reason why that house has not been worked on. Because I'd have to be out of my mind to live in that kind of harassment situation. I'd have to be crazy to build a $500,000 house or whatever it would end up being.
So why do you leave it as a nuisance property then? I guess my question is.
Well,
and
here's my
not
option.
remove it.
Okay, you know, I have an option right now. I mean,
I think your comment was that you weren't gonna do anything to that property,
well,
and that you wouldn't sell the property. So you have created that
no,
nuisance and you've left it.
no. Well, I mean, I don't, if I'll tell you what, I have driven around Walworth County because I'm gonna meet with the Attorney General's office.
Yeah, I already know.
Okay, and so, you know, I'll tell you something. If I have a nuisance property, a state nuisance property, okay, there's probably at least, I don't even know how many. I mean, it's just mind-boggling, but they're gonna get to see how many truly nuisance properties this county has that are
Then
about
report them.
1,000 times worse than mine.
Then report them. You have not submitted one report with regard to a nuisance property to the Walworth County Sheriff's Office or the State's Attorney's Office, have you?
I
Well-
think this is just something that you should be taking up in the court. I'm not quite sure what you want the commission to do here. Like I said, it is a nuisance property. I'll be honest, I've seen it. I see it all the time when I'm down there working, so.
And so you don't feel that, you know, so there's nothing I'm going to be able to do to stop the resort traffic coming up onto my, there's nothing I can do.
That's a
about it.
civil
They're not
issue
on,
between
they're on
you.
your road. I don't believe they're on your property.
Oh, they are, I've got pictures.
Well,
And they,
it could be
the
on
state
your
crime lab
property.
came up and, you know, a door went down to pier, that was my new door got broken in. You know, and if it isn't nailed down up there, it's gonna be gone. And even if it is nailed down, it's still gonna be gone.
cable.
You know, I come from Minneapolis, and you know, I have never seen anything like this area.
What are you expecting the commission to do here? I don't follow
Well,
what
you know, I guess
you're,
you've kind of answered my questions, you know, in
what are you
that,
looking for us to do?
well, you know, listen, you know, I just wanted to know kind of your perspective, and, you know, if any of you knew what was going on, and if there was basically any letters. So there's never a letter sent out. How many times have you, used this statute? to.
I'm not even gonna get into that with you.
You're not.
No,
What are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything. You know you have a nuisance property. The fact is you don't wanna do anything with it. You
No,
have
I
a building.
do. I mean, that house would have been built like a year.
You already, through your attorney, stated that you would have this done by, and cited, we already told you what you needed to do to
No.
comply.
Okay, so-
You
so
refused
what-
to do it. You have a trial on July
No,
31st for the court to
I haven't refused to do
determine.
anything. Here's
Well,
what.
that's your perspective, but through
No.
your attorney, you said you'd have it done by July
No, no,
15th,
no.
deciding.
Well, then my attorney is wrong.
I don't know what you really want us to do besides there's nothing. I think you should take this up in the trial that's coming up and see what you can do there. I don't believe there's anything that us commission can do here. I think just take it up in court.
Well, I wanted you to know why this property hasn't been finished, and, you know, because, I mean, you wouldn't want to live there under those circumstances. You wouldn't want to be there, I mean, constantly having to worry about.
Then you would think that a person would sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can tear it down.
Well, that was a
Then-
suggestion
wanna
which you
know
have
what?
chose not to
Then-
do.
Well, then it's still on the table. Then everybody loses. The county loses, except me. I mean, I don't lose because but the county loses, the development loses. Because you want to know what? I think if I'm.
I don't believe the development would lose when a
Really?
delinquent property and a nuisance property is torn down
And
next
it's
to other
interesting to
properties.
me that Mr.
We're gonna end this now.
Well,
Okay.
I want one more statement.
One more quick one.
Okay, it's interesting to me that Mr. Flees is so concerned about completing his development, and this lady has the biggest house out there, and so he now wants to make my life as absolutely miserable as he possibly can. So.
I don't believe it's
You
just
need
Mr. Fleece,
Okay.
I believe it's several property owners who
Well-
feel that the value of their property is decreased by your nuisance property.
You know,
But there's nothing we can do about it, so we need to move on.
okay,
Thank you. Any other new business?
I make a motion to adjourn as Walworth Planning and Zoning.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
No second.
Any second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Convening as the Walworth County Board of Zoning Adjustment. Is there any old business? Any new business?
Make a motion to adjourn as County Board of Zoning.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
No second.
Second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. We will convene as the Board of County Commissioners. I need a motion to approve the public meetings minutes.
So moved.
I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed. Okay, need a motion to approve county commission planning and zoning adjustment minutes for July 3rd.
So moved.
We got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to go over the claims.
Penny, what was that one for alcohol for Dorsey's trucking?
We have mandatory drug and alcohol testing.
It was in my head.
I've got a question on Brad's consultation of $5,440.95. Why is that taken out of the jail funds rather than the building fund?
With the building fund, you can't just pay something out of the building fund, you have to do a transfer from the building fund into the general fund.
Are we going to transfer that?
Yes, we will be.
Because it comes to about $17,000.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. But we have to pay it out of the budget.
Ryan, is there still some more left on the court, on the roof?
They just need to finish hanging the conduit.
But I mean, is this the payment here?
That's not all of it, there's still $4,000.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yep.
Okay. Take a motion on the claims. We got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
No second.
I got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Highway.
Good morning.
Morning.
I passed out the monthly statement from the treasurer's report. Sure, I have one. Questions? No? If we can get a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We got a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, need consider a motion to adopt resolution 2018-08, refund on motor vehicle license fees.
I'll make that motion.
Read it. State of South Dakota Legislature passed HB 1195 effective July 1st, 2018, and with revised provisions regarding refunds for motor vehicle fees. The Walworth County Board of Commissioners acknowledged that Walworth County must follow the revised legislative bill. The Walworth County Board of Commissioners acknowledged that no refund may be made unless the registration stickers are returned unused, and application for refund must be made within 90 days from the date the license fee was paid. Mail-in fees and credit card fees charged will not be refunded. The Walworth County Board of Commissioners does hereby authorize the Walworth County Treasurer to refund the lawful owner of the motor vehicle from current collections, and motor vehicle license fees include county wheel tax fees for overpayments or fees paid in error which is paid by the owner for any license plate fees. Take a motion for that. Okay, need a second. Need a second?
I'll second.
Got a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Consider a motion to hire Lucas Vallejo as emergency manager at a wage of $36,000. That's what the committee recommended.
I know, we did, 3 interviews that day. Lucas, in our opinion, has the best resume for the position. Not only as an emergency manager, he's well-versed in grant writing, and, as the board that reviewed all 3 applicants, our recommendation was to hire Lucas.
Okay, I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
A second.
Got a second. Any more discussion?
When did we decide to move that to a full-time position? Versus part-time and with the we board? I don't remember discussing it in any of our meetings.
When we decided to split the two apart.
What's that?
I think we did when we decided to split them up.
When did we decide to do that?
I thought it was right away. Can't tell you the exact time.
I don't ever remember discussing it
It wasn't a motion.
in any of our meetings here. Unless you had a special meeting that we didn't know about again.
No.
And I don't feel emergency manager a full-time position.
What should it be then?
I thought we were happy with the part-time of the week guy.
I don't think we need somebody for that position. It's obvious, I think it mustn't be working right because we've already gone through, what, 2 now? In what short period?
Warhawken State feels it should be a full-time position and we get reimbursed half of their salary plus benefits, whether it's part-time or full-time.
I kind of agree with Jim, why haven't we heard about this before?
I read about it in the paper. That was offered a full-time position.
We just discussed it, and I guess that's what we decided to do. Ryan was there, we discussed it, and
What I'm pointing out is it wasn't discussed in our meeting here. Show me in the minutes where it was discussed.
it probably is not.
My point exactly.
What do you want to do?
You're gonna do the same thing with the weed person, give them a full-time position then too?
The weed board's planning on meeting tomorrow morning and they are planning on
Part-time.
putting an ad out for a part-time seasonal position. But
Part-time, but that's what we have been, is part-time.
They have-
Half-time,
they have
lead and
to
a half-time emergency manager.
make a motion.
Kevin Marion, what do you feel about emergency manager?
I know there's a lot to get done in the emergency manager's office because we're way behind on a lot of it. The big disaster preparedness manual, they're working on that now. Without that, we stand no chance of getting any FEMA money if we don't have that manual completed. Between that, everything else at Warhawk's going on, they have to have an annual exercise. There's nothing planned for that. They really haven't had an emergency manager for a while now. We're way behind on the 8 ball with emergency management, I can tell you that. It's gonna take them at least a year to get caught up with everything, with all the paperwork and planning all the pod exercises and getting everything ready. My feeling it should be a full-time position because it's gonna be a valuable position when the shit hits the fan.
Who's supposed to be even doing that right now, Jim, if we don't get somebody in there? I mean, what are we supposed to do, just be letting it go, or what? I know Becky's doing it right now, but I mean,
No, before we appointed the sheriff as the emergency manager temporary until we got someone.
I think the sheriff's office has enough to do with itself.
I would fully agree. I think this should have been discussed long before we got to this point.
What do you feel, Marion?
I guess I don't know when, but I feel like we did talk about this at previous meeting not that long ago.
Well, I know we
Thought we
talked about it, when we
decided
who's gonna be
who
on the
was gonna-
committee.
Yeah, but there was no formal motions made.
You were at that meeting when we decided who was gonna be on the
Who was
committee.
going to be on the committee, yeah. We never discussed in this meeting that it was going to be a full-time position. Until I seen it in the paper.
I guess that's what I kind of remember was the fact that, I mean, they decided to form the committee to hire or to look at that. That's what I thought. They talked about doing it as a full-time position at that point.
Well, I would take a motion to hire Lucas.
We have a motion in a second. Yep. We need a vote.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passed.
Scott, I do have a question. Are you gonna keep the office down where it is? Set up already?
I would think we
For
should.
the time being, for sure,
Now
yeah.
it's gonna be, I wouldn't know why we'd change it.
No, we just spent a bunch of money for internet and radios and all that stuff hooked up. Okay.
Okay, we'll go to number 16. Accept the resignation of Michael Mortensen as registered deeds.
Sorry.
I say no.
I wasn't looking, it came to me, so it's what's best for me and my family.
Well, thank you for your time. You may sit. Thank you. Need a motion for that?
Also moved.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Number 17, consider motion to declare certain items surplus to be disposed of as indicated on provided list.
Around, please.
Penny has a couple more things she'd like to add to the list as well, so after the meeting, I'll type them in and get the master list to Becky.
There's just a couple computers and a printer.
To be destroyed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this snow blower, is that the one that's sitting down there?
I'm sorry.
The snow blower.
Yeah,
Oh, you put that on bids, is that what you're gonna do? Or it says sell?
just surplus it at price and see if we get anybody interested.
That's that big truck one?
You can't get that motor, a different motor to go in there? That one won't fit out of the old one?
That's what I was told.
Oh, really? Okay, I take a motion.
I so moved.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Got a second, any other discussion?
Are we gonna add those other ones on? Approve the other ones too now, or wait until the other ones get added on?
I think if you just approve them, it's 2 computer towers and a printer, and then I'll add the details to the list and give it to Becky for her.
They're to be destroyed?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
Did you want them to appoint somebody to appraise that, or?
No, we'll do that on that.
When's there a date on that? Is there a date, or how are you gonna do that? On that snow blower?
We have to determine the salvage value. And then once that's done, it can go, that's net.
Okay. Okay, number 18, discuss potential changes to the personnel policy manual regarding comp time.
Put this on here because I know there's been some talk about comp time. And there's been some things that we probably haven't been doing 100% correctly.
According to FLSA, which is federal labor law, state and local government employees can only accrue up to 240 hours of comp time lawfully. So it's up to your guys' discretion if you would like them to even be able to accumulate that much, or if you'd like to set a lower cap. I know Becky's talked to somebody with the, was it the Federal Department of Labor or was it the state? State. And our options are pretty much wide open. It's kind of at the commissioner's discretion whether you want to set the bar lower and, you know, prevent anybody from accumulating more than 80 hours of comp time. The thing is though, if you can't not pay them for time earned, so if they accumulate, or if they work 40 hours or plus over 40 hours when they already have this comp time maxed out at 80 hours, then you're gonna have to pay them overtime. I mean, there's no way around that, but you could also enforce some sort of punishment for exceeding that 80 hours of comp time, if that's something you'd like to put into policy. If you think it's an issue. If not, we should probably at least have something in the policy stating a cap on comp time, just to cover ourselves.
I think we should have some sort of a cap on there.
It's just a matter of where you want to set it. Do you want to set it at that 240 hours, or do you want to set it lower?
That's a
Try and
half year.
encourage.
It's a half year.
240. Well, there's
6 weeks. It must be 6
Yeah.
weeks.
What I'm getting at here is just some guidance to go ahead and put something in policy.
What are we got now for average for comp time? There isn't very much comp time, right? Other than certain departments.
Yeah, just certain departments have.
Jamie's office has got comp time, I know.
Yeah, Brenda does the 4-H and poor relief and
Deb, you got,
I have a ton of comp time that I'm not willing to give up because my comp time came during all that stuff with Martin. And I'm not, that was my only choice to try to keep my job, and I'm not willing to give it up.
This policy
I mean,
from now on.
I'm willing to adhere to the policy from now on. I'm not willing to give up what I've got, and I've got a ton.
There'd be no precedent for making somebody forfeit during comp time. I mean, that's your time. If you worked over 40 hours a week, that's your time. So.
And I don't have a problem with a cap on it. I don't have a problem with trying to not do it. I don't have a problem.
240 to me is a little high.
That's about what vacation time is, that I can earn after 20 years, around there. I can earn that much vacation time.
I would say 120 would be fine.
What's the rest of the commission feel?
If we have to buy back their comp time, say they can retire, we buy that back at the regular salary, or do we buy it back at overtime?
They earn it at overtime.
Earn time and a half.
Yeah.
It's paid back at regular salary. I'm not a big fan of comp time. It's kind of a way of skirting around paying overtime and budgeting for overtime, but that's just my take on it. Sometimes it's a necessary evil, just like overtime, but sometimes it's necessary evil.
Who was the one that said that $240?
That's federal labor law. Yep.
I think I'd agree with Kevin. I think 120 hours is great fine.
And then anything of that, we time that overtime.
And then you just gotta decide if you want to put anything in policy to discourage people from exceeding that or not.
If you have your maximum vacation time and your maximum sick leave time, you forfeit whatever else is earned, why can't it be that way for comp time?
Because you can't do that if they work over 40 hours by law. That's what
Oh.
Brian Markle told me from Department of Labor.
So they either get comp time or they get paid time and a half.
Right,
Right.
but if they exceed the comp time and it's not really necessary, then.
Who's gonna determine if it's
Ryan,
necessary? or
well,
not?
Ryan is suggesting putting something in policy.
I think if
And that's
you-
what the Department of Labor suggested, for some sort of a reprimand
I think it should be that
if it's abused.
the only
And
way you can accumulate over 120 hours is with the permission of the commission.
Board approval.
I thought we kind of decided in here, didn't we, that any comp time has to come through the commission first and get approved?
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
it was.
isn't that way, the way we kind of said it?
Yeah, it was, to my knowledge, it was only given at a certain time.
Yeah, I thought it had to come before you guys anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem.
But I think it needs to be in the policy that way, so it stays that way.
I think my thought was 80 hours, but that was just kind of what I was thinking would probably be adequate. And that's still a lot of comp time. If you're having to pay them out at 15, 20 bucks an hour and somebody quits or retires or whatever, it's a big expenditure.
What do you wanna do?
I make a motion, we set a maximum at 80 hours.
All right, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
I got a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
Despite the motion, I'll probably still bring you revision to the personnel policy manual, so we'll probably have to move to accept that again, because I don't have anything written on it right now.
Okay.
We'll get it done.
All right, Ryan, you're next.
Just gonna pass around some pictures and some. The insurance company got me some estimates on the vehicles out the landfill that were damaged, and the pictures, they're a little dark, but you can still kind of see some of the damage to the property out there from the July storm. I know Marion's been out there and kind of. Yeah, everything, I just printed out one packet, everything's just in one copy.
Did anybody come up with what should we do on the damage from the building?
Well, I have Terry Schlenker looking into, put together a quote for me, see what it's gonna cost. I think they said they're gonna have to replace 13, nope, just one copy of everything, so they just have to pass it around. Those are all different.
Oh, these are all different?
Those-
Oh, okay.
All three of the vehicles out there.
Okay, I see, that's what you got here.
So, I think Terry said they're gonna have to replace 13 of the roof panels, which are a full 30-foot long. I don't know how wide they are for sure, but they're peaked and deep, those roof panels are. Plus all of the siding and purlins on the west side, which is the side facing the scale, plus around the corners, like 3 or 4 panels of siding. He pulled a chunk of steel the size of my fist out of the roof that had penetrated through the roof. So that's a little different for a straight line wind.
Yeah, that had to weigh, that piece has to weigh 3 or 4 pounds
Yeah,
at least.
that's
on
it,
that deal.
yeah.
Just a chunk going up through the road. That was
We had pieces of scrap culvert that Penny's guys had brought out that were probably, I don't know, 12 foot long or so that moved 800-900 feet
Oh, that-
across the site. It was pretty significant.
It's all turned into the insurance.
Basically, the vehicles, I had the rear window shattered out of 2 of them, and I had 3 windows shattered out of 1 of them, and some body damage done to my white pickup, and a lot of scouring done to the Crown Victoria. It looks like somebody just came back and sandblasted it. It's crazy.
Wasn't there some culverts or something you said that?
Yeah, that's those ones that Penny brought out that moved all the way across the site, so.
That damage anything as far as fences or any of that stuff?
Yeah, we got fences down, but that's just kind of par for the course out there. We're used to that, so.
See, Standing Rock's getting that down, huh?
How far is that down to?
They'll be paid, they'll be caught up to their original obligation amount after they pay me this month.
So they'll be all caught up?
Yep.
That's fantastic.
That's with their net 60, so, which has been historically what they've been allowed to do. Basically carry an
Net 60
extra
days.
month's balance. Yeah.
That's excellent compared to where we were. Good job.
I'm just glad it worked out. I'm glad you guys had the patience to allow it to work out as well.
Feel good.
And there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about. You all got my monthly reports, I think, right? So if you got any questions about that, I'll be happy to answer them too. But Jim Hayes just got a hold of me this morning. I called him into, since we're gonna be doing some extensive remodel into the building, I wanted to have him look at putting in a air conditioner unit, kind of like these ones here. So what he had quoted for me was 2 heads, one for my office, one for the main office, and 1 unit, like those little units that we have out here on the outside of the building, and I think it was right around $4,500. So I think I am gonna go that way, because we've just been using window units and it's not keeping up. I mean, it's like 85 degrees in my office some days when the sun beats down on this stupid building. It gets pretty miserable in there, but so I think I'm gonna go that direction.
He says you can get heat, or those heat.
Yeah, he's gonna put a heat pump on them too, so should be able to kind of help our propane bill in the winter time as well. I think I'm gonna go that direction and get those installed. And then I saw an ad in the Reminder a couple weeks ago for a building for rent in Mobridge, and it's kind of been something I've been looking at for a while now to help in recycling. We don't have a loading dock out at the landfill, and that makes offloading things like bales of newspaper pretty difficult, because most of the time they want you to have a truck loaded within a couple of hours, and when you're only able to set up a bale of newspaper, a stack of newspaper on the back of the truck, and then use a pallet jack to load it in, it makes it kind of tough to do that under those time constraints. So the building is the best way equipment rental building here in Old Bridge. I talked to the guy yesterday, which is, it's owned by Traffic Solutions. I think they bought the whole package deal, but they want $1,000 a month for that building plus utilities, so I thought I'd run it by you guys and see what you thought about that. Basically move the recycled trailers from behind City Hall over there, because it's got a light fixture out in the frontage there. It'd be a good place to stage those, and then it'd be a lot quicker turnaround, and maybe even be able to move one of those trailers over here to Selby and just do collection in the building, or find something different for right at the site. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. That stuff takes up a lot of room in my shop out at the landfill that I'd rather be using for maintenance activities. I'm constantly working around it in the wintertime, and we have to store the scraper and the blade in the building in order to get them to start. So this would kind of help alleviate some of that problem.
Are we getting paid for any of the recycling, or is it just pretty much a wash?
Cardboard if you take into account the labor, we probably break even on cardboard. Newspaper, basically we get just enough to cover transport to St. Paul. The other stuff, plastic is really tough to find the end market for right now. Very difficult. I'd hate to stop, negate the progress that we've made over the last 10 years. So that's why I've still been taking it, even though there's no market available for it right now. We've come a long way with the recycling program over the last 10 years here.
Do you ever check with, like, Payless? I know they got all them bundles of cardboard out.
Yeah, usually we go in on loads together, me and Josh do. Like when he's ready to ship out half the load, he'll call me and I'll fill up the other half of the load and we'll ship it out together.
$1,000, you can make that work?
Yeah, I mean,
Would they bring theirs over to that new building then, or just keep it there?
they'd probably just keep it there, yeah. $1,000 a month, but it's a 40 by 90 shop with the loading dock and stuff. It's pretty reasonable. I thought, a building of that size. I just gotta work out the logistics of it and transporting, like the balers over there and forklift, getting the forklift for there, because I need the one that I have out at the shop for offloading stuff too, so, but you can pick up the forklift on surplus pretty reasonable. That would kind of be the only challenges there.
Do you do anything with like aluminum cans or any of that stuff?
We take them, and we'll sell them, but most people, if they have a lot, they'll sell them. Because we don't give any money for them. We take the steel cans too, and we'll sell those with the scrap as well.
I would say, throw it in your budget request and, we'll take a look at it when we do the budget. Be my suggestion, anyway.
Would it require an employee every day there then, Ryan?
No, I mean, it'd probably be
Just basically for storage?
couple days a week going in there and catching up on the recycling, and I could have one of the part-timers do that, so I wouldn't increase my staffing at all for it. The only thought is if it's been advertised, I kind of want to take advantage of it sooner rather than later, so somebody else doesn't consider out of ahead of me. I mean, I could fit it in the budget for this year. It would only be $5,000 for the rest of this year. I could definitely fit that in the budget, but.
I guess we want to talk about it now, or when we do budget after the regular meeting.
I guess we could talk about the budget, but it fits into his budget this year, right? And I don't know if there's a lot of them facilities available to rent, is there? With a dock
No,
and stuff?
I've been looking for a long time for something like that to pop up. Especially with, being where it's at and having the room to turn a semi-trailer around there and back it up to the building and that kind of stuff. It's a pretty good location.
So will that be used as a drop-off area then, or is that gonna be something that you're just gonna bring stuff into that area as a loading area?
That's my thought, that's why I think I keep the trailer. I don't think I'd open it up to public access inside the building because it wouldn't be staffed all the time.
Right.
But I could stage the trailers, the collection trailers outside of it. That eliminates my transport to and from, because right now we take the trailers from City Hall all the way out to the landfill and bring them all the way back. It takes half a day every week to do that kind of stuff. So if they were right there, it'd be a lot quicker.
And they wouldn't have an issue with having the trailer sit there?
I talked to the guy about it yesterday. He didn't seem to have an issue with it. The lease would be for all the frontage too.
All the way to the highway?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's It's a big area.
All the way up to the highway?
That's a huge deal.
That's a long
It's really inexpensive
Yeah,
for
that's
that
what he
kind of.
made it sound like, so I'd have to confirm it, but when I talked to him yesterday, I asked him the same thing. because He asked me if I need all that space, and I said, well, getting semis backed up to the loading dock and everything, yeah. Definitely want to have that room there, and I talked to him about it being lighted for the collection trailers too, so.
I guess I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I would say if it's something you want, and you're looking for, you just will lock it in while you have the opportunity.
I'll go take a look at it and see what I think. The only reservation I have is just that the recycling markets are so bad right now, but if we're gonna keep recycling and keep gaining on the progress that we made, it'd be nice to. It's never been a money making, recycling's never been about the money, it's been about diversion and providing a service to the public.
It keeps a lot of stuff out of the landfill too.
So if you look at it from a money perspective, it's not a good thing. If you look at it, the whole picture.
What do we ever do as a commission that's money, that makes money? We've never done anything yet that makes money.
I know.
That building is all heated and insulated. Spray foam, I know they just spray foam that whole thing, so that seems pretty reasonable for that
That's
size
kind of what I
building.
thought too, the price seemed pretty fair. Well, I'll go take a look at it then, and if I think it looks like it'll work for us, and I'll get into a lease, and I'll report back to you guys on what we came up with.
All right. What else, Ryan?
I think that's all I have for right now.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Penny?
Okay, everybody should have got my June budget reports. Any questions?
Questions?
I guess not, okay. Update on Swan Creek. Marty and I were down there yesterday. They are done laying asphalt. We will be putting a fog seal down on Thursday morning, and then it'll be striped and then it'll be done.
How did the soft spots turn out?
We've got 3 dig outs they're working on this morning.
Yeah, they had that fishing tournament down there this week.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that affected the painting or not, because there's lots of pre-fishing going on.
I don't, that shouldn't. I don't know. If there's any issues with traffic, they'll have traffic control out there, so that should be no problem. Community access grant, County Road 319, they started yesterday. That's about all I got on that, is they started.
I gave all the other information to Jamie, he's gonna get them all drawn up.
The letters. Okay. All right.
For the money.
Okay. And I'm not gonna say anything about that. All right. I know Steve is here. Discuss options for Sitka Road. I gave you all the monetary numbers last commission meeting. And I think Steve wants to address you, or you wanna wait and see what
It
they're.
doesn't matter, I
don't have a lot to say. Did you ever come up with anything we can show a video on, or?
Right.
Oh, yeah, we could probably make it work. I can't say 100% that it'll work, but we can sure try if you want to give me a few minutes to set something.
just take a 5-minute break.
Go ahead.
Want me to go ahead?
Well, the reason I came and got these is, I'm not an engineer, but I'm just arguing the decision that the engineers came up with saying that these culverts can take in 90% of the time, I'm sure they can take that much. But this is what happened that day out there, and nobody, I got like 3 short videos to show that we took and the neighbor took of how much water was going through that area at that time. I just wanted to show that to you guys, so before you make a decision on this project, I know it doesn't affect anybody else but my family, because our property is really the only one that it affects. But I just thought I'd show it to you to see the amount of water that was running through there that day.
It doesn't matter if it will happen again, it's gonna.
When it will happen, yeah.
Technology.
Doesn't want to talk.
Well, it's talking, it just, for some reason, it doesn't want to play it.
Cholesterol.
Never shown the playbook.
I don't, that's so strange. Well, I might just have to turn this around. This isn't gonna cooperate.
Second run. Steve's got a couple clips that he filmed in the water.
Yeah, we'll just, I think we might just have to,
If they
2 or
can
3
make
of us can
call.
look at it
Yeah.
on one side and then flip over to the other side.
yeah, that's what we're gonna
If they're
have
on there and on yours.
Yeah, I can pull it up on my own too.
to. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe you want to show some.
I don't want to play anymore. Guess we'll watch it on that.
Is that coming from the north?
This is coming from the south.
From the south?
That would be right by Burns's driveway. That was all water coming down from the south. So that's a mile away from our place. The next one, I want to just go to that next one right away.
Is this the one I just did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is my yard here. That's where the culvert should be right there. That's where they are now. And they were completely blocked at that point. Well, not completely, because it was running out the other side about half speed. But this is probably, I don't know, a half hour, or no, it's probably an hour before we ended up getting the road out. So at that point, it wasn't really up to the house yet. It was just.
That's your house, right?
Yeah. Now, the last one is, one of the neighbors took a video of it while we were working on the road, and this is when things were getting pretty real. because it was up to the house. So basically, if we wouldn't have got it going, I'd say about another 15 minutes, we'd have water coming in the basement windows, so.
Do you guys wanna see a little closer over there?
I think, I saw them.
Okay.
No, so that's it.
Sorry we couldn't get this drive there.
That's all I was gonna, just want you guys to kind of feel what, or see what it looked like at the time, and we worked on that culvert for a half hour with a telehandler trying to get the garbage to get out of there, but we couldn't, there was too much pressure there and it wouldn't open up. So, I guess, I know it's a lot of money, but I'm sticking a lot of money into my house right now because of it. And, like we said, it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it will happen again, but we don't know when. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. What's the commission feel on this?
What size of culverts do you have in there now?
6 foot by 70 foot. 2 of them.
If the trash wouldn't have come down, would they have handled the water?
That's what our engineer says. The reason that the water wasn't flowing was because of all the corn stalks and everything that washed off the fields and plugged them.
But that'll happen again too.
Oh, yeah, with the no-till farming.
I mean, that's just the practice of everything nowadays. It's the residues of one of the bigger problems. We don't have the mud flowing, but we got residue, so.
But in all reality, those two culverts gotta come out and fix them properly. They gotta be dug way up. I mean, I know them are the culverts I stuck my tape measure under, so I know they gotta be dug up to try to get that.
We were gonna
back
use
under.
flowable fill in there, Scott, concrete. Just build a footing, a firm around there, and some footings, and then put that flowable fill in there to seal that back up. Instead of disturbing the whole thing.
I know, to me, what needs to be done, in my eyes, either we put in a box culvert, or one more culvert's gotta go in there. That's how I look at it, and I know it's a lot of money, but what's the rest of the commission's feel?
What was your cost estimates to put another culvert in compared to a box culvert?
A regular, another culvert was about, numbers.
Culvert alone is 14,000.
Yeah, culvert alone was 14,000, and then, the estimate to put it in was 95,000, so a little over 100,000. A box culvert, or concrete culvert would be about 200,000.
And you said that you couldn't put that culvert in. My question is, why can't you?
Well, we probably could,
I mean, you've set many culverts before.
not that big.
You guys said 8-footers.
We built it, we didn't set it in there, we built it in there.
Just east of town here, they were probably not quite as long, but by Buzz's out here, you guys set those.
I wasn't involved with that one at that time.
You had a crane come in and you set them. So I guess,
Whatever you guys decide. Your decision.
when you said the box culvert was 200,000, now is that installed at 200,000? Plus the culvert?
Approximate, yes, no, the culvert's about 100,000 and the installation's about 100,000. And that's an estimate, that's not an actual.
That estimate that would be the labor and material to install that, have sub that out.
It would have to be bid out if that's the direction you're going to go.
I feel that's the direction we need to go. I know it's a lot of money, but,
What size is the box culvert?
It would be 19 and a half feet long by 25 feet wide.
long by 24 wide.
Now, when you're talking long, you're talking the length of the road.
The length of the road, yeah. Because if we go 20 foot, that automatically puts it into the bridge factor, and that increases everything. Anything that is 20 feet or more is considered a bridge, so we can keep it.
Are they 6 foot or 8 foot or how tall are they?
I don't know that.
I think they were 8.
8, yeah.
Nice part about that is you've got a wide open
It would definitely
flow.
flow.
I mean, as far as obstruction and stop and stuff.
Dave, what do you feel?
Is there anybody else in the area down there that's affected by this street?
But like I said, if I wouldn't have been there that day, if we'd have been out of town, it would have took our whole house.
Yeah.
And then we'd have had a $250,000 pile of shit, so.
Have you ever thought about building a berm, Steve, out there?
Thought about moving. But, like I said, it's all a lot of money, but I'm gonna stick 60,000 into my basement, 50 to 60 by the time it was sewer that got in our basement, so they had to throw everything out. And, I mean, 200,000 in 5 years, my personal property tax pays for that. And then 200,000 amongst the whole county. I know it's a lot of money. And like I said, it stinks because it is, my property is probably the only one that affects. The rest of it just runs down the creek. So, it also got into my shop, but there wasn't any huge losses there, just a mess. So,
Didn't your boat float off the trailer?
it didn't float off, but the pump was running, so it was as high as the boat.
That was all that corn stalks and stuff like that.
I will make a motion to approve the 200,000 box culvert.
Do you wanna put an amount on that, being as it has to be bid and it's
No.
just an estimate?
I'll just make a motion for the box culvert to be installed.
Concrete box. Those are our metal box.
Concrete box culvert.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
You need the dimensions 24 by 19.
No, because it'll all net it out, so,
Okay.
for sure.
Got a motion, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any other discussion?
Technically, we're looking at a difference between $114,000 and to add a culvert and $200,000.
Plus the cost of repair on the current ones, right? So I mean, it wouldn't be a little closer than that really if you consider the cost of fixing up the current culverts that are there.
You have an estimate of what that will?
No, because we wouldn't do it, so.
Now Penny, could these two culverts that are taken out of there, could they be moved to that road like by Vaughn, that section line or whatever that is that Vaughn Thurston's talking about? Can them culverts be put back in there? But apparently, there's nothing wrong with the culverts, correct?
I don't know. I didn't crawl through them.
Well, I walked.
It's very
I didn't see nothing, I walked through them.
Yeah, I haven't walked through them.
It's a lot easier for you.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, it is. I don't think I'm gonna grow anytime soon.
Sorry, Scott.
That's all right. But I mean, isn't that one option, a guy could use this thing culvert? I mean, it's not as if they'd be a
If
total
they were,
waste.
if they were, they'd come out in good shape, that would be an option. Because we need 70-foot ones over on. We've done a temporary repair on the 2 culverts at Bond so he could get into his fields.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, then it wouldn't be a total loss with them culverts.
You know, it's a possibility. We'd have to wait to see what they look like when they come out.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, the Dennis Schneider, we won't
No,
discuss that,
that's-
that's fine. I'd just like to thank him for cleaning.
Yep, already did.
Wolf Bay Road.
I guess I put that on there. Are we still planning on putting, stable down on that?
No,
We, you know, when?
projection time? No. We haven't done it because the gravel's gotta come out of the road pit. And that road's been under construction for the last 6 weeks. So hopefully that'll get finished up this week.
I'm just letting you know, because
So am I.
it's.
Well,
so
guys,
much-
we all are. It's dry. I can't help it.
Those washboards in there.
But I mean,
We'll get it done as soon as we can.
couldn't a guy water that road and recut it?
There's no gravel left there to speak anyway. Ask Alan, it turned to mud during that one rainstorm.
Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to get it done. Next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
If I can have your attention here, I've got a problem just like Steve does, you know, there's some drainage problems along that road. Jim was down here after that flood and saw the damage that it done, but in a way, about 90% of the water that comes east of me off of those hills on the south side of Highway 1804 runs down the ditch and runs south. And there's about a half-mile of my road, you know, from Highway 1804 that I believe needs to be cut deeper in the ditch so that the water drains to the highway. Instead, it drains south, and then it fills up that one area, and then it drains south again. It comes down through my yard and flows right into the boat ramp area. And, you know, we had a heck of a mess with trash too, you know, this year. And so, you know, I'd like the county to consider that, you know, doing something, you know, to, you know, alleviate that problem of draining to the south. And I don't think it's gonna take a lot, but it's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
And,
we'll address that at the same time we do the.
Is there still water standing down there, Alan?
Oh, you bet, yeah. I tell all the fishermen when they leave me fish fillets, bring me live fish so I can put them in the pond. But no, there's water, I'm gonna have water there all summer. And I've got renters, you know, that are renting the land and they aren't happy about it either. And like Steve said earlier too, it's gonna happen again. It seems like our weather patterns are getting wetter and getting more volatile, so, you know, you know, I'm just asking the county, you know, if they would try to address that problem.
Alan, would part of that, would half of it go south and half go to the north across 1804 through Burns's and down that creek there then, or?
No, there's a culvert, you know, right at 1804 coming in by my cattle guard, there's a culvert that goes west.
So it just
It takes,
folded
you know,
up.
some of the water, but that culvert is too small, it won't take the water and it flows south. When you have a...
Is the culvert going east and west where your cattle guard is there? Along 1804?
Yeah, yeah.
Culvert must be right in the ditch of 1804 there. Is that the one you're talking about? That goes across that road towards your place?
Yeah.
So it just follow that ditch line over to that curve and getting that creek there, you go to the river then.
Yeah.
That's where it's supposed to flow, but
Okay.
none of it.
There's about a half mile, I think, where you have to cut in, cut the ditch a little bit deeper, to get it to slope towards the north. And like I say, I told Jim too, if you need a little bit more right away, I'm willing to give up some or, take some soil or whatever it does to, correct the problem.
No, it's
What's one part of it?
You looked at it, Marty?
Yes, I know where it's at. I could take the backhoe down there and just get the water to drain for now, and then if it dries up by this fall, then do the work.
Is that fair enough?
You can give that a try.
Is
Because
the
every
culvert
time,
that goes across there, you said that wasn't able to take all the water? So that's an issue also? I mean, so if we're running more water there, are we gonna end up flooding the road and going over the other direction, or?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That's a 4-foot grade on 1804.
I just didn't know if they were, you said it was plugged, if that was the case, then if we're running
It
more
might,
water.
that
is it-
pipe might still, fall.
Maybe just- Okay.
No, let's just try that then for now.
Now, let's give that a try and
Okay.
go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, Penny?
I don't have anything. I am gone next week on family vacation. If anything comes up, you can get a hold of this guy.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
Josh?
Thanks, Alan.
If there aren't any questions on the reports, bullet item, discussion regarding generator, the generators. We still don't have the one from that we got on the grant, hooked up yet. I'm just wondering what the plan is. When that does get hooked up, that one will not work anymore. That supplies electricity over to the jail. Turns it back up. Right now it's a shared generator. I don't know what the, I'd have to check with Patty on that to see how much time we got, because I don't want us to, put the grant in jeopardy, if you know what I mean. Because I know usually you have to spend the money in or have it installed by a certain date. So that is just an FYI for the commission to think about.
I thought Cleanser was doing that sometime, hooking that.
Well, it was kind of, we would like a decision to have an idea, because if that goes down, then I don't have anything over there for backup, because I can't hook up to this one. It'd be in violation of the grant.
So once this one gets hooked up, then you don't have one.
Correct.
So we don't wanna hook this one up unless we absolutely have to at this point, because then it takes yours away.
Right. I will have to do a few things to that to make it work, to keep us in the jail side.
I'll check with Patty and see.
Yeah, we should check with Patty and see if we're getting close to the deadline. So we don't.
If there's not a close deadline, then the emergency manager should look into what they're gonna do about that.
I'll have, the next bullet item, maintenance issues. I just want to adjust and give you guys an update on a couple things that we had to do over in jail, as far as fixes and.
Yeah, the last couple things, I had a couple faucets in the cells not working, so Hayes came over, and then the faucet in the kitchen sprung a leak, so they're working on getting me a new one installed in the kitchen. So just so you're aware.
Okay, next item, I didn't put that on there.
Just basically that the administrative law judge's decision, which was in favor of Walworth County, was appealed to the secretary, and secretary upheld the decision of the administrative law judge.
Next bullet item, I did someone else with that.
Yeah, we need to discuss, what are we doing with Brad? To me, I would say Brad's job is done for right now. I think that if anybody needs to contact him, it should be discussed with the commissioners. How does the rest of the commission feel about that?
If we move forward with a new facility, we need him on board. No doubt in my mind, we're.
For what, I guess?
After we've got him on board, we've sure got a whole lot better plan
what would we need Brad for? I mean, even if you'd move forward, I mean, isn't that what you have the contractors for? What would Brad's purpose be? We should probably spend their money on it.
To, I don't know if I can explain it the way I think it, to keep everything in code and the right kind of equipment, let's say, put in there. That probably ain't the right term, but the quality of, there's so many different, we'll just take locks. Pier got in line on their locks, I understand. I think it's pretty important if we move forward to keep them on board.
If we go forward, wouldn't we hire a CM to do that? What would the CM's job be then?
CM's job would be make sure those were enforced. I don't think the construction manager would be in on the details of planning it. He would be in on the details of carrying out the plans.
That's what HMN is the jail locks and jail security part, and they're partnered with the APC. So that CM would be part of HMN.
I think that would just be another cost that would be basically a double cost. I would think. I think Brad's job is,
Are we gonna try
he
to
did what he
split
was
up
supposed to.
the CM's job?
Well, his job is to see to it is done and at that figure. You know, I can give you an example, like the school. They got in a bind on some blocks laid in the wall, and the construction manager had to let that group go and get a different one, and that was at his expense. So, construction manager, when he signs off on that jail, if we do it, if there's an overrun, he's gotta stand that expense.
That's why
Brad would be involved with, the details of what all needs to be done and how.
do we need him until we get a decision? Is there any more that he needs to do until there's a decision made?
I would guess probably not. If it goes to go to the people and goes down, then we're done. If it goes to the people and it's voted in favor of it to proceed, then I would say we need.
I guess I'm gonna differ on that. I think that's, this company here, that they're gonna have that person in place. I think that should be their expense. I don't know why that would be, if we'd build a jail. I don't believe that Brad would be part of it unless they hire Brad. I don't see why we would hire another person to pay. When I would guess that company there, that would be their job.
I would hate to see us get rid of the contract right now. I think we ought to wait for a while. We have time.
It's on a per hour basis, so if we don't need it for the next.
But what I want to say is, I don't believe that anybody should be talking to Brad. If it is, then that's their dime. I don't believe anybody should be talking to Brad other than us commissioners during a meeting or something. We should not have another bill from Brad is what I'm getting at. Our bills to Brad, anything getting paid to Brad should be done as of right now. Until, if it would come to, if it goes to the vote of the people and they determine that they want to build a jail, well then we should decide if we want to keep somebody, but as of right now, I would say we should be done with Brad. I just don't, unless I'm the one that thinks that.
No, I guess I feel the same way. The construction manager in this project, in my business, and that's, that he's responsible for all that stuff. I mean, the engineering firm hires that individual to oversee that. An engineering firm, EAPC, would be the ones that would be coming in with the recommendations as far as the quality and the different things of that, as far as hinges and different things like that. Construction managers, that's falling back on him as far as whether they're being used or not. And that company then is responsible, or the EAPC would be responsible as far as the quality. They hired the guy that's putting it in. So I guess I kind of agree. I don't see where there's any reason to have pay another person to do that.
That's why I put that on there, because I simply just don't feel that we need to be spending money, the county's money, taxpayers' money, when it does not need to be spent right now. I think our ties with Brad right now, we don't need to be talking to him right now. If we do, when we're in this meeting, then I think we make that decision. I would like a motion on that.
I'll make a motion on that.
Okay, you have a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
You have a second. Any other discussion?
I would like a clarification on that motion.
It's, if anybody wants to talk to Brad, it'll be done in this, during a commissioner meeting. If we think that we need to talk to Brad. Outside of this, he is not to be paid.
What about any other additional committee meetings?
There shouldn't be any other meetings.
Well, we'll still have jail committee meetings.
Well, why would you need to talk to Brad?
We wouldn't need to. This way, if something comes up in one of our meetings, we can make the recommendation.
Then we will come to
That's
this
gonna have
one.
to come back to the commission anyway, whatever recommendations are made.
That's what I said, when it comes back to us in here. We can make that phone call from here.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passed.
Next item is resolution 2018-09. I didn't put that under, but it's for the jail bond obligation.
Okay, I'll read that. Resolution 201809. The resolution for the Walworth County Jail bond issue. At the July 17, 2018 Walworth County meeting, the need for a new county jail has arisen in Walworth County, South Dakota. The Walworth County Jail Committee has sought and developed a plan for the construction of a new 70-bed Walworth County Law Enforcement Center. The anticipated cost of construction for the Walworth County Land Enforcement Center is $2.5 million. $10.5 million. Walworth County does not have the cash funds available to construct the Walworth County Law Enforcement Center. Walworth County would need $10.5 million in contingency bonds to construct the Walworth County Law Enforcement Center. South Dakota CL 6-8B-3, no bonds may be issued unless authorized by a vote of the people. Walworth County shall seek to pass a $10.5 million contingency bond for the construction of a 70-bed Walworth County Law Enforcement Center to replace the existing Walworth County Jail. The question of authorizing issuance of such bond shall be submitted to the qualified electors of the county at a bond election which will be held within 60 days. Shall Walworth County, South Dakota, issue its negotiable general obligation bonds in a registered principal amount not exceeding 10.5 million, issued in one or series bearing interest at such rates as may be determined by the commission, payable and maturing from one and not to exceed 30 years after the date of insurance, for the purpose of financing a new law enforcement facility, furnishing and equipping of the same.
I got one question on that last paragraph. It says general obligation bonds. Should that be changed to contingency bond?
I think we're okay with that, leaving it as it is. Because if we,
one is different than the other.
I think we're still okay though.
Okay, you say we're all right, as long as it's a contingency bond instead of a general obligation.
Well, we can change that to contingency bond if you want. So you would probably entertain a motion to change.
It's negotiable contingency bond and registered principal.
Contingency obligation bond. So you need to make a motion to change.
Okay,
We'll need a motion for that then, Kevin?
I'll make a motion to change this to a contingency obligation bond instead of a general bond.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second it.
We got a second, any other discussion?
It makes a big difference if it's contingency or general obligation.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
If this passes today, there's going to be a supplement to the election budget, clearly. This will have a special election.
I would need this in the form of a motion.
We have not approved this yet, have we? We just approved changing that.
Right.
Just the change.
Right.
I will make a motion to approve County Resolution 2018-9 to put it to a vote of the people of Walworth County, whether they want to spend the 10.5 million to construct a new law enforcement center.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a second, any other discussion?
This is, I mean, this basically is just asking the people whether or not they're willing to support this through this bond issue.
Correct.
It's not necessarily saying that we're in favor of it,
We're letting the people vote on it, or
we're putting it to a vote finally after how many years that we've been discussing this, to finally get the people of Walworth County a voice in whether they're gonna stick their necks out for this or not.
Can I just ask, is there a reason we don't want it on the general election ballot? Is there a specific reason for that?
It has to be done within 60 days, I thought, once it's approved.
Right, but if you waited to approve it, then it could be. I'm just wondering if there's a specific reason it's not, that you want a special election just for this issue.
Because if it does get approved, we're trying to get it into the optimal bidding point for EAPC for construction phase.
Which is end of March or end of April, isn't it? March or April.
End of March into April.
what is roughly the added cost of an election?
8 to 10,000, I suppose.
Because right now, we would be looking at, what, 1st of September, middle of September,
Middle of September.
compared to November
November.
5th, 6th. November 6th. So we'd be saving another 60 days.
You don't think it would make more sense to have it at the same time as the other election?
And it costs us more than that if they approve it to wait another year for bids. Or if we do bid it in at that time, or later, say we go to bid in June, it'll cost us more than that.
It's just hearsay. We don't know that. It might cost more to begin with. I mean, that's just somebody saying it could cost more. Nobody.
That's what the
unless they're
experts
God.
say.
Yeah, that's what they say. But that's just like anything, you
Yes,
know
they know
that.
more about it than we do. They do it every day.
I know, but I'm saying, we don't, nobody knows that.
This has been such a issue for the past 6-7 years. Maybe it needs to be on its own.
You think we'll get a better turnout as far as numbers in election if we wait?
We probably would.
It's having a lot of work too. I mean, more expense, everything. What do you think, Dave? Pretty much.
I think we should have it just as soon as possible. Because the cost keeps going up every time we turn around.
Well, I got a motion on the floor in a second. I'll go roll call voting. Jim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Marion,
No.
Kevin.
I just want to see the people vote, have a say in it. I'm not saying that I'm for it or against it. I just want the people to have a voice in this, and this is about the only way that they're gonna have a voice in it. So I will vote yes.
And I'll vote no. Motion passed. Anything else, Josh?
No.
Thank you.
Are you gonna set up a date at a later time for this?
Yep. So you wanna get everything ready? We will probably be needing some more time in there, just because of this, so just so you're aware.
Okay, we've done number 22, discuss cleanup at Molstead.
I put that on there. I received a few phone calls, and I went out and looked at it. I was trying to get out there earlier, but for some reason, we have jail meetings every other day.
Do you wanna come in now so you can?
The state has been mowing the boat ramp from the road all the way into the boat ramp. The boat ramp looks fine. It's just getting into the main camping part that has not been touched yet this year. With the strong winds that we had, there are some trees that are down in there. One of them is blocking the road. It'd be nice if we had a cleanup day to go in there with some chainsaws and trailers to get the, if you know somebody that's looking for wood even, those trees that one tree that blocking the road, it's deader than hell, and it's be good firewood.
That's already out of there. That's already been cut out. And between Ronnie and I, we've got some guys that are coming out to get some of the wood. So we're not gonna do anything on mowing until the wood is out of there, because you can't take lawnmowers in there with all the big wood.
Well, that's what That's why I put it on here is can we organize a cleanup day out there to get some chainsaws and some people out there to clean it up.
Well, we got some,
The highway department's got plenty of things they need to get done, so I don't think we should put it on.
we've got some people that come out there and cut up the wood, don't we, Ronnie?
Two of them.
Yeah.
Once the wood gets cut up, I was gonna see if I could use the landfill mower again and take that out there to mow.
But we've got some guys that, two people that are coming to, cut up the wood out there. They want it rather than cut it up.
That's fine.
When do you wanna set it up?
Well, I don't know, you wanna head this up or?
Yeah, I can.
If you let me know when you get it out, I'll go get the mower and go out and mow.
Okay.
And then, are you still mowing out that way, Penny?
No, we're not, well, we will be when we do our second round, but that's gonna be a while before we get out that direction again.
It's gonna be a little bit easier if you make one pass in and one pass out
Yeah.
when he's out there doing that.
Maybe a couple weeks.
It's gonna be,
I think before they
it's
get
gonna be a
back.
couple weeks anyway by the time all that wood's out of there too.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't wanna go in there where the mower would
No.
break stuff, so.
We won't, no.
Just whenever he's going past there, if he can swing in, make one pass in, one pass out.
Yeah,
Uh,
just let me know when the wood's gone.
Okay.
There is kind of one bad washout in there, the roads could probably use a little bit of gravel in that one spot. I don't know if you could, it ain't gonna take much, it's just one bad washout that went through there.
Okay. We'll go look at it.
Why don't you guys let us know when the cleanup day is and we'll go from there. Anything else on that? Okay, we'll go to number 23. Consider motion to adopt resolution 2018-10 establishing the number of compensation allowed for the Office of Auditor, Treasurer, and Register of Deeds.
Ryan, didn't we already do this one?
I don't think we approved it, did we?
I think we
I
did.
thought we approved this one and didn't approve the other one.
On January 18th, resolution 04 was tabled, and that's what it was.
So shouldn't we be using that resolution instead?
Yeah, if that was tabled, we should use that number then. Unless you used it for something different.
No, you
I
didn't.
don't think so. Just change your number to 04.
Oh, this is 04.
Was the other one 05 then? Yeah. They were both discussed at the same time, so.
And at the moment, so how would it?
It was resolution established state on January. And then the next one was filed.
5 was,
There.
5 was adopted.
Weight limits, yep.
Okay.
And 6 was adopted as something. 6 was,
So 4 and 10.
a disaster declaration was 6. And we did 7
So this one here
earlier
is
Do
today.
that one 4, this one 10. So you want auditor, treasurer 4, sheriff 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we missing one in there, Doug?
It is for resolution WC 2018-04. Resolution establishing the number and compensation of deputies allowed for the offices of the county auditor, treasurer, and register of deeds. The Walworth County Board of Commissioners have deemed it's necessary for the prompt, accurate dispatch of county business that deputies be employed in the elected offices of the county auditor, treasurer, register of deeds. South Dakota Codified Law 7-7-20 outlines a procedure for fixing the number and compensation of deputies and clerks in the offices of the county auditor, treasurer, and register deeds. Now and therefore be it. That the Walworth County Board of Commissioners fixes the number and compensation of deputies per SDCL 7-7-20 as follows for 2018. Office of the County Auditor, 2 full-time deputies each compensated at $15.42 per hour. Office of the County Treasurer, 1 full-time deputy compensated at $15.42 per hour, and 1 part-time deputy compensated at $15.42 per hour. Office of the County Register of Deeds, a full-time deputy compensated at $15.42 per hour. Okay, I'll need a motion.
I so move.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Need a second?
I'll second.
Got a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed.
Do you want me to make copies and hand them out? Are you gonna say all, I mean, does he have to read all those amounts?
Well, hope for your sake that, you know, that's.
What's that?
There's a lot in this one.
He has to read
Yep.
every amount.
This one, too?
You got a copy of it?
You can have one of us read it too.
That'd be fine with me.
I guess I have a copy in front of me,
Brian,
so I
can you
can
read
read it.
It just has to all be read out loud.
Resolution WC 2018-10, a resolution establishing the number and compensation of deputies allowed for the office of the county sheriff. Whereas the Walworth County Board of Commissioners has deemed it necessary for the prompt dispatch of business in the office of the county sheriff, that 1 or more deputies, jailers, or clerks be appointed therein, and whereas South Dakota Codified Law 7-12-9 outlines the procedure for fixing the number and compensation of deputies in the office of the county sheriff. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Walworth County Board of Commissioners fixes the number and compensation of sheriff's office personnel per SDCL 7-12-9 as follows for 2018. Positions: Deputy Sheriff 2 full-time employees, part-time Deputy Sheriff. Their part-time positions, 1,040 hours per position, 2,080 total hours available for 2018. Administrative Deputy or Secretary is a part-time position, 1,040 total hours available for 2018. Compensation at level 1, Deputy Sheriff. Uncertified would be $17.25 an hour. After 3 months probation would be $17.50 per hour. And certified after probation would be $18.01 per hour. At level 2, which would be a Deputy Sheriff 2 classification, and certified, after the first year of service would be $18.26. After the second would be $18.51. After the third would be $18.76. And after the fourth to the end of year 5 would be $19.01, with each step representing a year of service. Level 3 would be classified as Deputy Sheriff 3. After 5 years of service to the end of year 10, with each step representing a year of service, would be year 5 to 6 would be 1926, year 6 to 7 would be 1951, 7 to 8 would be 1976, 8 to 9 would be 2001, and 9 to 10 would be 2026 per hour. Level 4, which would be classified as a Senior Deputy Sheriff, with each step representing a year of service. Year 1 would be 1973, 2, 1998, 3, 2023, 4, 2048, 5, 2073, 6, 2098, 7, 2123, 8, 2148, 9, 2173, 10, 2198 per hour. Level 5, classified as Administrative Office Deputy, with each step representing a year of service. Year 1 would be 1515, 2, 1540, 3, 1565, 4, 1590, 5, 1615, 6, 1640, 7, 1665, 8, 1690, 9, 1715, and 10, 1740 per hour. Be it further resolved that the Walworth County Board of Commissioners fixes the number and compensation of jail personnel per SDCL 7-12-9 as follows for 2018, as set forth and agreed upon by the Walworth County Sheriff. Positions: Chief Deputy Jail Administrator 1 full-time, Jail Sergeant 3 full-time, Correctional Officers 11 full-time, part-time correctional officers, which would be part-time positions, 1,040 hours per position with 2,080 hours available for 2018. Compensation at level 1, which is classified as correctional officer, uncertified would be $15.15 per hour. After probation would be $15.65, and certification would be $16.15, with year 2 to 3 being $16.40, 3 to 4 being $16.65, 4 to 5 being $16.90, 5 to 6 being $17.15, 6 to 7 being $17.40, 7 to 8 being $17.65, 8 to 9 through the end of year 10, if I'm reading this right, is $17.90. Level 2, which would be a corrections sergeant, with each step representing a year of service to end of year 10. Year 1 would be $16.40, 2 would be $16.65, 3 $16.94, 17.15, 5 $17.40, 6 $17.65, 7 $17.90, 8 $18.15, 9 $18.40, and 10 being $18.65 per hour. Level 3, being classified as Chief Deputy and Jail Administrator, with each step representing 2 years of service, would be years 1 through 2 would be $43,500, 2 through 4 would be $45,000, 4 through 6 would be $45,600, 6 through 8 would be $48,000, and 8 through 10 would be $49,500 per year. That's salary. 50 cents per hour wage increases upon completion of probationary period and certification. An annual percentage of cost of living raise will be determined by the Walworth County Commissioners with input from the Walworth County Sheriff. I need to make it a little shorter.
I don't know, that looks to me then, the way that is being, Josh, that if the way all this is done, then I guess I'll pick on the highway department again, then that's how it should be done, then the blade operators should be the years that you've been there. They should be in levels like that. I guess I'm not understanding all these.
What's the difference between this and longevity pay?
I was just asked to do it this way. We looked at the city of Overages, and they follow the same procedure as to step increases. I did go over this with Commissioner Schlomer and Ryan. He was interested in seeing the step increases and getting things set. And this would definitely set.
Are we gonna do this plus longevity pay?
See, when I was sitting in on this deal, I didn't realize how the county had set up longevity pay. I didn't realize that was in that program.
So we're back to square one.
I'm a little bit confused based on that. If we do this, to me, we can't, I mean, this takes longevity into account.
I guess that's what I thought we were doing with the longevity. It would be taken into account with the step increases and the salary scales.
And this is for 2018.
Correct. Because we haven't approved anything for 18.
Right.
Do you know, does the city do this for all employees or just the police?
Nope, it's all city. The whole, straight across the street department, 911 center, law enforcement.
Do they have longevity pay?
I don't know that, Kevin. They do have longevity.
On top of step increases?
They base theirs on a yearly sum. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know the first year to year, I can't remember if it was 5 years. It was $540 a year, $540. Then it went to $1,080 and went up from there as the years progressed.
Do you know what their benefits include?
Well, I don't know if they have, I didn't envision they have that black. There was life insurance.
Do you know what
Some of
they
that's probably-
pay?
Some of that's probably changed. So it's been 30 years or so since I've been there.
What they pay on what?
What portions they pay and things like that?
They put a single employee and then the family one has to get a certain percentage like here.
To me, the only way this would ever even be close to fair is you'd have to do it for everybody. I don't see how you can just rule out one department. To me, I think you'd have to be, everybody should be the same. And I don't know how you determine that one office, to me, looks like is more valuable than the next office. That's just how it looks to me, that. I don't know what the rest of you guys are thinking, but to me, it looks like that you guys are more valuable than the next office.
I thought we did this with the longevity pay. That's why we enacted longevity pay, is paying for being here year after year.
Well, if you did that between me and the elected officials, there'd be a horrible spread. Because like Mike has been there a year, Nyla's been there 4 years, I've been here 20. You know what I mean? But we're still doing the same job that we always did.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a blade operator who'll be here 40 years in September. And I got two of them that are over 25 years, and another one that's ready to go 25 years.
Should be paying him $100 and some an hour then.
Yeah.
Well, that's us.
I don't know, to me, it just doesn't look very fair to the rest of the workers in the county. If you allow this to be in one department and not, huh?
To me, that's why we put longevity pay in. But how long has your longest employee been there? I guess it wouldn't really make, not even 2 years, is it?
I think Travis has been there 4.
I say Travis has got to be the longest.
Right, Travis, but
And
the
Aaron's been there 7 or 8.
jail.
Jail wise,
8. Aaron.
when he was
He's
over
deputy
there.
now. So, I mean, he's still getting longevity pay for 8 years. And that's how much per year increase for longevity pay?
He would get $32 on his every paycheck.
$4 a year.
Well, Jim, Dave, what is your guys' feelings on this? Could be all of us.
I didn't get a chance to study that much. I would have liked to seen that before this, but I was kind of the understanding this was gonna be the step deal for moving up in training. You know, as they get more training, they would.
Well, we all get training every year.
Yeah, like I said, I wish I could have seen that ahead of time. I really.
To me, I don't believe this is being fair to the rest of the workers of the county. That's my take on it, just by looking at this.
Weren't you the one that asked for this?
I originally asked him, well, I think it was one of the very first meetings that I was at, and he was looking for a pay raise for, and I asked him if you had something spelled out as far as, you know, a level or an area that that person would qualify. Okay, he's been here for 5 years, therefore this is, qualifications, you know, and everything else. It would be a lot easier to say, okay, yeah, that's why he's getting his pay raise, is based on this. When I went out and looked at this thing the other day with him, I did not realize, like I said, that the county had longevity in their pay scale. With that knowing now, I probably wouldn't have agreed to this. Just because of the fact that I feel like it's kind of doubling up. But, and I mean, sorry to have you put out much effort and work into it, but it just seems like that.
Well, we gotta make a decision because I've got people in positions over there doing jobs and not getting paid for it. We're in July, 7 months. You guys tell me what you want to see done. We gotta get something passed. I don't think it's fair to have those guys in those positions and not paying for it. They are taking on the extra responsibility. So I guess you guys let me know. It can be revamped. We looked at it. This is actually titrated down from the city. I mean, I show it. We looked at that model also, and I'll tell you what, they make way more than what county employees do.
But Josh, when you hire these, what do you tell that person when you hire a correction officer now? Do you tell them exactly what it is and what could possibly be? I mean, how do you create?
I give them the 2 certification levels in their probation, because that's all we've ever had. So you're looking at 2 levels, Scott, their entry, and it doesn't, they've always stayed the same. That's the issue that we run into. There's people that could have 8 years over there, they're gonna be making the same $1 an hour.
But I mean, how can you expect this to happen, in my eyes, when you got somebody that...
We shouldn't do it for the whole
No, but
county.
I'm saying when you got somebody there that's 40 years, how can this be fair?
I'm not saying we shouldn't do it for the whole county, I never once said that. I was asked to do this for the sheriff's office, which is sheriff's office and jail. I never once said that it shouldn't be done across. I mean, you should have something like that figured out.
But isn't that what we decide with longevity? That's why we enacted the longevity, is for years of service.
We upped it quite a bit.
Yeah. $4 a year per paycheck.
It's $8 per year per month. Actually, if you take, like somebody, like my blade operator will be 40 years. If you take his longevity and take his hourly rate and divide everything out, he is making more per hour than the other blade operators because of his longevity.
Correct.
So right there, you've got your steps.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying is.
For example, like my longevity is just a little bit over $1,900 a year. That is way more than Mike and way more than mine. Because I get like $160 a month.
Yeah, that's where your step comes in as far as your...
What he's talking about is, they're going up and doing more responsibility in a different job. And they're not getting paid for that. Your guys...
Well, then that would be a separate, to me, that would be a separate thing.
Right.
That you need to have a program in place for promotions.
Right.
And your hourly wages.
We're not giving it right now.
But, I'm sorry, Josh, I'm not in favor of this
It's fine, Penny.
at all. I don't think it's fair.
I didn't do it to not be fair to the other departments.
No.
At all.
No.
So I don't want anybody taking it that way. I didn't. I was asked to do it for my agency because this board will not give increases when I had it worked in the budget already. For several years in those positions, I've had them before. And I got one that isn't here and two that are still doing it. I don't know why they're still doing it.
I've told you from 2 years ago, I'm not opposed to giving raises. All I ask is for a sergeant, give me the job description, their duties, and their certifications of what it takes to be a sergeant, and I haven't gotten anything in 2 years.
I supplied you job descriptions.
From Iowa.
No.
Yeah, that's where it came from, was Iowa. Because it even had in there, they need to know the laws of Iowa. It was a direct copy from a police or sheriff's department in Iowa.
Well, then I'll have to look at that then.
We're kind of getting off task a little bit.
What are we gonna do with the resolution?
I brought a copy of the original one that I had put together that you guys can make changes to by motion if you want. See if you want to make any changes to it. This is what was based off the budget. You can make changes to it if you want to change it into the salary level, and then maybe we can put something into place just so that we have something to go by.
Now, this is different from what you read, right?
Yeah, so I'll do the beginning if you want me to.
Is this current wages, like ours were, right?
Or is there a difference in 2 deputy sheriffs?
That's not my question to answer.
You got $2 difference between the deputy sheriff.
That's what
Is
they're
that-
getting paid.
One's on probation yet and hasn't come off probation yet, and Travis has been here 4 years.
Okay. If you take 4 years of longevity off there, what would his base rate be?
That's that, this doesn't include longevity, this is just wage.
This reflects what their current wage is, or I guess Aaron's making 50 cents an hour less than that right now, but that reflects his probationary increase. Current wage, current year budget. Changes could be made now. I could read it aloud and make it official. If you so choose.
Is there a distinction between chief deputy and your regular deputy? You have a chief deputy in the sheriff's
It's
office.
just double title. He's in the jail plan.
I wouldn't have a problem with this if the 2 deputies are based on the same, once they get certified, they can get a 50 cent an hour, or whatever it is, but their base pay should be the same. Once they're certified, then give them a different rate.
Aaron he's law enforcement certified, is he not? So that you would change to $18.98 per hour.
Is that the base rate?
That would be the base rate before his probationary rate goes into effect. So after his probation has finished, then he would be making $19.48 an hour, the same as Travis.
My question is if we hire somebody new what is their base rate gonna be?
Well, if you want to stick with what we have been doing, where you have same duties, same pay, then it would be, you would hire them on at 50 cents less than what your other deputy sheriffs are making. Or 50 cents less than what your correctional officers are making, depending on the position they're hired into. Then once they clear probation, then they're making the same amount. And then you use your longevity to differentiate years of service.
Adjust this one up to,
So if we would adjust that and take out the jail corporal altogether, because we said we don't need a jail corporal, right? If you got two sergeants,
I got one sergeant and a corporal right now.
How many do you need though, Josh?
Ideally, well, with the change in the employees over there, it was one supervisor per shift.
So change the corporal to a sergeant.
So then you need 3 then?
so you want 3 sergeants.
Correct.
the corporal and the correctional officers are the same. Just difference in job title,
Job title and duties.
but they're the same pay, according to this.
So I'm saying let's make changes before I read it, so we don't have to move to change it.
If you pass this as a resolution for 2018, does this again become an issue during budget hearings for 2019?
You gotta do it every
It'll
year.
have to be done every year now. We never did it before. So it will probably have to be done at the January meeting instead of the other ones.
With the new salary, or the new hourly rates. And this is strictly hourly rate, this has nothing to do with.
Longevity.
I don't,
Longevity's done
they have no idea what.
in this.
Well, then he wouldn't be jail corporal until he is.
So right now, Becky, the resolution's been read, and that's it.
Make a substitute resolution?
Well, there hasn't been any
No,
motion.
there's no motion or anything.
So wouldn't we wanna, if we're going to end up doing this one, wouldn't we wanna make a motion to not pass?
Can I make a motion to this?
Well, you know what I.
Make a motion to pass and vote it down.
Right.
And then have another resolution put in place.
Or you can make a motion to pass it as amended too.
If you want to amend it,
Then the entire thing.
We haven't had a motion to do anything, it all just been as read, so we don't.
Don't wanna reread the damn thing.
No, this is different one, it has to be when we're gonna pass it.
Okay, so what are we gonna change the compensation for deputy sheriff to?
If you want to maintain the consistency, change it to 1898 per hour.
For both of them,
No,
or just one?
just one. And really in here, I would put it as 1948. I would just keep them both the same because after he clears probation, that's what it's gonna be. So if I were to make that change right now, I would just cross that off and change it to 1948 per hour.
Okay, positions. You want two sergeants and a corporal, you want 3 sergeants, what do you want?
This year's is based off the corporal and 2 sergeants, that's what we had in there.
Okay,
The 1 sergeant is in field right now.
So leave that for this year then.
Yeah.
About your wages. And Glenn's making 16-19 an hour currently.
so
The
sergeant,
wages on this be what the wages are for 2018.
So I make a change to it, that's what we talked about, so.
so Glenn's a sergeant.
He's the only one you got right now, Josh,
Yep.
right?
Leave it at 16, 19.
Okay.
What about corporal, should that make, is there any change to that or not?
I would
Right.
say,
This is consistent with what they're all making right now, right?
Currently,
Okay.
yes.
I can accept this one.
So then we need to vote on the 2018-04, we should vote on that.
I think motion, second, and then a motion to amend as the changes that you want to put in there.
That's on 11.
Pardon?
The changes are on 11. Correct.
Well, this would be 10.
10.
Don't disregard the number at the top, this would be 10. Just the same as the other one. Unless you wanna just,
That's how you see it, right, Dave? Motion, second, and then a motion to amend, and then Ryan can read off the changes for the discussion. Or actually, then you gotta vote on the amendment, and then,
We can't just vote it down and then pass the other one?
I think we have to make another motion,
Yeah, you'd have to have it.
another resolution
You'd have
number.
to, yeah, you'd have to have
Then
it.
it
That's
could
what
be
I
11.
need.
I
And
guess it
vote
could be
down the
10.
one and pass the other as 11.
Technically, you don't have the other one. I mean, the one that you voted down is the one that's on your agenda. Technically, this one's not even on your agenda.
So probably go along, roundabout way.
I would say go the motion in a second, motion to amend, and then read off the changes that you want. And then motion, or second it, vote on the amendment, and then come back and vote on the resolution as amended. Clear as mud.
Just let me know when I'm supposed to say yeah.
So right now, what you would want to do is, because all it's been is read, you'll have a motion to approve in a second.
I need a motion? Got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Second. Got a second.
And then someone is going to need to make a motion to amend the resolution and then put in the amendments to the resolution that you want.
So that motion to amend then would be basically reread this,
Just your changes.
just the changes.
Just your
I'll
changes.
make a motion to amend with what Ryan says.
So then Ryan, you need to read off the changes.
Right now?
Yes. Oh,
You didn't vote on the first.
Didn't have a motion.
No, they have a
you,
motion to
you don't, you got a motion to amend, so you don't vote on your first motion, because you're amending your current motion. So Ryan is gonna have to read off what he wants to amend it to. And then there would be a motion and a second and a vote to amend, and you come back and you approve the motion as amended.
So, as amended, Resolution WC 2018-10, a resolution establishing the number and compensation of deputies allowed for the office of the county sheriff.
You don't have to read that whole thing, just amend
Okay.
it.
Positions deputy sheriff, 2 full-time, with both of them compensated at $19.48 per hour. And it's just, that part's pretty much the
Everything's the
same.
same.
Well, I gotta read off the other ones too, because with the
They were all
scaling and
different.
everything, it's gonna have to. So So 2 deputy sheriff positions. Part-time deputy sheriff would be a part-time position, 1,040 hours per position, 2,080 total hours available for 2018. Administrative deputy secretary should be a part-time position, 1,040 total hours available for 2018. Compensation, the 2 deputy sheriffs would be at $19.48 per hour. Part-time deputy sheriff would be at $17.52 per hour. An administrative deputy or secretary would be at $15.42 per hour. Positions in the jail would be 1 full-time chief deputy jail administrator, 2 full-time jail sergeants, 1 full-time jail corporal, 11 full-time correctional officers, and then part-time correctional officers at 1,040 hours per position with 2,080 hours total available for 2018. The compensation would be chief deputy jail administrator would be at $41,209 per year salary. For the jail sergeants, the 2 jail sergeants, their salary would be $16.19 per hour. For the 1 jail corporal, $15.67 per hour. 11 correctional officers would be $15.67 per hour. And any part-time correctional officers would be $15.67 per hour.
So now you need a motion to approve the amendment in a second.
You want to get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second? I'll second. Get a second. Any other discussion? Hear none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes.
So now you need you've already had a motion and a second on the original motion, so now you're at the further discussion stage, and then vote. On the original, on the
amended motion.
On the amended resolution, I'm sorry. Or on the resolution as amended.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Hear none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Thanks for your efforts and the compromises.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Any old business?
I just have a question. When does the emergency manager start?
August 6th, I believe, is what, is that what's the new pay period?
August 6th? Thanks.
That was what was discussed.
New business.
I just want to let everybody know that my last day is this Friday, the 20th.
Thank you for your time here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You're gonna have one thing to kind of follow up on that. Since the Register of Deeds has resigned from office, the Register of Deeds has also resigned from or withdrawn her name from the election. So on the 23rd of July, the Walworth County Republican Central Committee will nominate a person to fill that vacated space. So you will probably, and then that person will take the ballot spot and will take office as of the 1st of January. And then also you're going to need to appoint a new Register of Deeds to fill out this cycle. I would probably recommend keeping Micah on the payroll on the understanding that she's gonna do something temporarily because you're gonna go maybe 3 weeks without a Register of Deeds. Correct? Potentially? Because you can't appoint a new Register of Deeds till your next meeting unless you hold a special meeting. And so that'll be at least 3 weeks out. So you probably are going to want to keep Micah on the payroll or work out some type of agreement with her to continue on as Register of Deeds until you can get someone new appointed.
The Republican Committee is Monday,
The 23rd.
which
But that's only
includes all of you, and you have the letter in your pile.
But that's only to appoint someone to fill out the ballot. Not
We need to
fill out her
appoint
slot.
somebody to fill out to the 1st of January.
Correct? And you don't have that on your agenda, so you're gonna have to do it at the next meeting or a
Why
special.
didn't you bring this up yesterday?
What's that?
Why didn't you bring this up yesterday?
Well, we shouldn't have had Micah withdraw from the election in the first place, then the commission would have just appointed to fill out. She would have taken, or refused to take office on January 1st, and the same person would have continued on, but paperwork was filled out to have her withdraw from the election. So that creates the,
Why don't we have a quick special meeting next Tuesday, the 24th, so we can appoint somebody and get them in there?
that would be wise.
Set up a special meeting for the 24th so we can appoint somebody and get somebody in that office.
Is it possible to appoint the same person that we put on ballot?
That's probably what I would do.
I didn't know if that was
That's what I would do. It's totally up to the central committee appoints the candidate that would take office at January 1st, 2019. The commission only appoints the person to fill out the rest of the vacant seat. And since we have an election pending, that's why we need to have someone appointed. If this would have just been a normal non-election year, and the person would not already have been on the ballot, it would have been totally different, so.
Sorry to add more to your plate.
Piece of cake.
But yeah, I would recommend either you convince Micah to stay on for an extended period of time, or you get someone appointed after the committee makes an appointment to fill the ballot spot.
Well, by Tuesday morning, we would know who the committee is going to appoint.
Correct?
No, Monday night.
Yeah. For our meeting Tuesday morning.
Right.
And we also already have to post the meeting as a public meeting because there's gonna be a quorum of county commissioners. So you have to, that's gotta be published also, so.
On Monday night.
For Monday night for the central committee, correct. I
Okay.
believe there's 16 people on the central committee, basically it's.
Okay, my question is could we appoint somebody Monday night? Again, there's gonna be a quorum anyway.
You have to post a special meeting of the county commission
Which will
to
be-
select a register of deeds to fill the
Can
vacant
we have
seat.
that as soon as we're done with the party?
You can, you just gotta get it published.
Let's do it that way then, so we don't have to make a special trip back here if we're gonna know then who we're gonna appoint.
5:30 Monday night is the central committee meeting.
Just put that on there all
after
in one.
after the Republican meeting, and then do the commission meeting, special commission meeting at point.
That would be the easiest. We just gotta,
Sounds good.
we just need to get that on the calendar because it is going to be, both meetings are public
Be my
meetings.
suggestion is do it one right back to the other, instead of making a special trip back over here.
Okay.
All right, let's just do that. Any other new business?
Clears mud.
Where's mine? Are we going to address, maybe we should, something that got brought up about, when does the employees' hours start? When they leave their house or when they get here to punch in? And, are they required to take a lunch break or not take a lunch break? There's nothing in the manual about that, is there?
No, but that's something I kind of discovered yesterday when I was scrolling through some statutes, that we're supposed to be doing a resolution every year to establish the office hours for auditor, register of deeds, treasurer, and director of equalization. So that's something that you guys could set by resolution, should you choose to. Which would mean you could set it as 8 to noon, 1 to 5, or whatever you wanted to do. So,
I think we need to address that because that's where we're running into some of the problems with comp time and other things.
But your office hours is going to be different than what you're going to allow your employees to work.
Yeah.
That's just setting the days, the times that it's gonna be open. You need, if you're going to regulate what hours they're working, you're gonna have to do that separately. Because even though you post the office hours from 8 to noon, say of the auditors, 8 to noon, 1 to 5, that's just setting when the door is going to be open. You're not setting when they can work, so they could have somebody come in at 6 in the morning and work till 3, and take a lunch hour at a certain time, or work from 6 until 2 and not take a lunch, if that's what you're also trying to address.
There is some language in the policy manual, I just can't remember offhand exactly what it says.
Well,
That is in the manual.
personnel
There's some
committee
stuff.
can go over that and look into that. They should be able to do that. I don't have my book here to show who's on that, but we can address that then. Any other new business? Well, 27 department head budget requests. Do you want to take a short break? Maybe we'll grab a quick bite or something, or what do you want to do?
Makes no difference to me.
What do you guys want to do?
What kind of time frame are we talking? On the budget stuff?
We're gonna meet with every department head, go over their requests.
Probably about an hour maybe to go through everybody's initial budgets.
At minimum, I would guess. At minimum, I would guess.
Somewhere right in there.
I'm fine to say take a short break and come back later.
Makes no difference to me.
Rather do that than take an hour
What does the
break.
department head wanna do?
I want a break.
Want a break, yeah.
Please.
Like half hour or 10 minutes?
10 minutes is fine.
10 minutes.
Perfect.
Come back.
Well, we'll get started a little bit. I know Dave's not back. You guys just have to jump back to one thing on new business. It happens to be with, for achievement days, with the bathrooms down at the highway department.
Yeah, last year they used the, you guys approved them using the restroom in the basement. And I'm sorry, but those parents don't watch their kids. The kids plugged up the toilet, they flooded the bathroom. They had to get Hayes down there to get it unplugged. And now with all those computers and videos and stuff down there, I'm just not comfortable with them going down the basement. I mean, I have no issues with giving Deb a key so that they can get in if a storm hits. But to just, not Deb, I'm sorry, Brenda. Why I've got Deb, I don't know, but anyway.
Me too.
Giving Brenda a key so that if the storm does come up, they can get in the basement for shelter, but not to leave it open.
So what's the commission feel they want to do?
Get porta potties.
I know it's kind of a pain and another expense. What do you think, Jim? Dave? Marion?
I'll support whatever the commission does. I can understand Brenda's side and I can understand Penny's side. I just think it's a shame they can't use it, but if
You either have an adult down there monitoring it from the time they get there till the time they leave. Yeah,
I
you know
understand.
how that's gonna work.
I understand your
Yeah.
side too.
It's $200 for a porta potty. It costs them $250 to pay for the,
You should probably have Brenda up here if you're gonna discuss this.
I know, I just talked to her.
Okay?
She asked me if she should be up there.
I think you should.
Do you want me to go get her?
Yeah.
Raj?
I mean, I understand why, to me, truthfully, I think we should try it one more time, and see once, maybe it's just a fluke deal.
Is that the toilet or the bathrooms?
I'm sorry?
Is that the bathrooms?
Yeah, the bathroom in the basement. The rest of the shop is locked. They can't get into the other bathroom.
You can't shut them away from all that equipment. I don't know how it is down there.
That's
Just a wide open room,
That's
once
wide
you walk
open.
down there and then go around the corner to the
It's a
bathroom.
fluke deal. What was that?
What's that?
They said a fluke deal, what was that?
Plug the toilets and plug the floor.
Oh,
Well,
We ended up having to go over
I
shorts
got
anyway.
a short memory. There's no room you can lock.
No,
Or-
it's wide open down there.
And the emergency managers, computers and all that.
Computers, radios, filing cabinets.
I talked to Bob Schilling, and he's kind of in charge of that out the rodeo, grounds. And this was the first year that we haven't had the men and plugged in the circus or the rodeo.
First time.
First time. Otherwise, it's always plugged because people are using too much toilet paper.
Yeah.
And if it's not, take the toilet paper away.
Yeah.
They didn't have soap, so.
Just give them one each person.
There's a lot of socks in there if I'm going in there then.
Jeez.
Did he just say that?
He was surprised at that too.
Sorry I had to punch back in because I punched out and ate lunch because I thought it was gonna be a while.
This is just regarding the bathrooms, we're not on the budget yet.
Oh, thank goodness. Penny and I have been talking, and I know I was in the understanding that last year we put this thing to rest and that 4-H could use those bathrooms. We had a nice discussion on the phone. For people who will mow and move those benches out, I'm gonna trim. I'm currently trying to see if Fitz or Pest Control will spray for me at a little fee just to make sure we don't have any weeds. But then we came to the part about the bathroom. And I understand what Penny's saying in the small point is now that is the Walworth Emergency Management Office. There's radios and equipment. I will not have anybody watching that. So Penny suggested that the commission answer the question forever. I don't want to hear another bathroom question ever again. Finish the question of whether we can or cannot use those bathrooms for 4-H. On the one hand, I would have to unlock that door because it is the only storm shelter close enough to get the people that are down there safe if the storm should come up. The next closest one would be the school, as the Opera House, which was designated one, cannot be used as one because it's been condemned about the basement issues and the mold and the mildew, which is creeping up to first floor. So, talk to me. Thoughts, answers, but let's end this question. I do not want to have to ask this question again. I am so tired of dealing with these bathrooms that
Was that a beep?
yes, it was. That I'm just looking for some guidance, and I just want this question to finally be done because it just slows down the deal. It's complicated getting ready for 4-H. The county doesn't fund that part of it. The county pays for a few things in 4-H, but all of our programming and the majority of our issues for our hands-on program, that's all fundraised by Walworth County leaders. So,
Would porta potties work?
if they had to, they would. And I think I still left that in last year's budget. But it might go a little more because I'd have to have a wash stand, because I have to have the ability for them to be able to clean their hands. And it's imperative when you're going from animal to animal. If you've ever been from the state fair, there's always places to wash within specific areas because they don't want you to cross-contaminate. Chickens, rabbits being two of the biggies.
Would it help to get a porta potty to cut down on the traffic going in there? And would it help to have both?
If you had porta potties and you had a wash sink out there, would that suffice?
I think we could make it work, but then remember that that expense will have to come, I'll have to take out of that county budget, and I think there was still some there. Yeah, it just seems a crying shame that we can't use it. You know, we did have a mishap last year and we did fix it, and according to Penny and Jake Feast before he was gone, there's been water over flooded in that basement again. Which my 4-Hers didn't do because we weren't there.
No, we had to get Hayes back down because they didn't clean it out all the way. From 4-H days is what the guy said when he came in, so we didn't go out far enough.
To me, I think, I would say try it again, but that's just my theory. I don't know what the rest of you should make a decision so we can move on.
My only question is having file cabinets and computers and radios and everything in there for,
And that's a concern.
that's more my concern than the restroom deal. I don't have a problem with the kids going down there using the restroom, but I know how my kids were when they were little.
Oh, mine too.
You know, and I guess I question how many kids would go over there and down the basement to wash their hands after they held their rabbit before they went and held their chicken or whatever.
Oh, you know, I have little sanitizer stations there as well too, but, in those areas where they can do that. But I'm just thinking, you know, I don't know, as a mom, I don't like to think that you went to the bathroom and then you got the chow line and, I don't know. It doesn't do much for me.
Well, let's make up our mind, or should we just go with porta potties and we need to move on?
We're looking at the year before, not last year, the year before, it cost $200 for those porta potties.
I would say use the porta potties, be done with it. If they have to, they can take a rabbit with them.
Do we have access to, like, with the porta potties, do they have a wash bay that you can get with it?
Yes, it would be an added cost though.
I say allow you to use the bathrooms again this year. Maybe by next year things will be changed.
Well, yeah, and maybe we can lock up the radios and, you know, maybe, you know, I could go down there and do whatever I could to,
Drape a sheet over everything or something.
yeah, you know, keep that area safe. When Jake was still with us, he said he would just lock the radios up in the file cabinet. He said with his computer, he would just unplug that, take it down, and put that back on top of his file cabinet, so he didn't feel that there would be a whole lot more that it would be interested in. If you want, you can think about it. At the end of the day, you can tell me your answer.
No, if someone wants to make a motion on either way, someone wants to make a
I don't
motion.
care which way we go.
Dave, you're gonna make that into a motion?
I'll make that motion.
What was the motion again?
To allow her to use the toilets and the highway department.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry to have to be on your doorstep all the time.
Okay, the department head request.
Can I ask, can we do the department heads that are here, and so we don't have to sit here and listen to all the ambulance and the hospital and the county nurse and all that stuff before it gets to any of us? Is that possible?
Deb answered your question, I guess.
Right after I got my key,
You know,
Well, to me, I think a lot of it, we'll go over it real quick, and I think the changes, a lot of guys we should go home and think about it and put the changes in that you want to do, commissioner-wise, if you think something should be changed. And then we bring it back at the next meeting.
Right, that's what this means.
Speed
So with
things along.
commissioners, we just built in the 3% increase. We built in what we were expecting for insurance with 20% increase. I left 30,000 in there for the audit because I don't think we're gonna end up using it this year because I'm gonna request that they put us off till December with now a special election. So our bill probably won't come until next year. I will know more when I plan on contacting legislative audit after this meeting. The motion was made to pass that, so, other than that, we pretty much kept everything the same. Well, we upped the utilities because we're already at amount expended current over our budget. Contingency, we left 125,000. Election is built in as a non-election year. Leave the staples together. Because we went back in and changed election. That's why we stapled it. So you look at that sheet instead of the previous. Instead of reprinting everything. Courts, we left the same. Auditor, we built in 3% increase based on the employees that I have. We built in the 20% on top of what we figured is family, because we all three have family insurance. Supplies, I'm going to need a new printer and a new computer. But other than that, we kept everything the same. Next is Nyla. And she had two separate requests, I only entered one because that's the only thing I could do.
oh, which one did you do?
I did the 98.5. Is that what you have based on your current employees?
Okay, yep, that one had
That's
the
what I
3%
figured,
increase. And pretty much the same for the supplies, the other expenses, $50 more, I rounded up a little bit. That is the 3%, and then I did lower the health insurance a little bit because we were not using as much as we had on the budget. And then I had a budget number 2, which I increased $300 for my part-time help, because it's really hard to find part-time help and retain them who don't want to go full-time. And so she mentioned that maybe, a few more hours would be great.
How many hours did
Still
you
not
say?
give the full-time benefits.
I didn't catch.
300.
300 additional.
Is that in this one that we got or no?
No.
So that would be a total on the salary, $103,200 on the first line.
What was that?
$103,200, $98,500 on the very first line there. Which of course would affect the other lines too. Any questions on that or concerns?
Like I said, I kind of talked to some, and I think we're just gonna go home and do some thinking on everyone, and we'll.
Well, call me if you have any questions on it or anything.
Okay.
Glad to go over it with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Which one?
State's attorney.
State's attorney, we put in the 3% on the top line and 20% for health insurance. All the other numbers stayed exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the 3% and the 20% for health insurance.
Court appointed.
Court appointed, we left it at 95,000, that's what it was in 2018. Looks like we're gonna come in somewhere around that $100,000 or more amount. One thing about court appointed attorney, it's really hard to gauge that, just because you never know how many trials you're gonna have throughout the year, et cetera. So 95 is just a good number to go at, is what I think. So we left that the same. And next one is?
Child defense.
Left that at 30,000. This number of the 7690 that's been spent in 2018 is gonna go up dramatically. We've got a couple terminations. I don't know if you've gotten the bills on those yet and paid them. So we'll probably end up eating at least 20,000 of that total budget. So 30,000 is what we use, the same as last year. Then is court relief next.
Courthouse, Ryan.
Dave's not here, is he? That's why you had to call. I can't walk on.
Well, they just had a card for him, so I don't know if I seen him leave earlier, but he could be back.
Car's here.
Yeah, his card's here.
How about the county card?
Okay.
He's not, if he goes somewhere, he sometimes takes that.
Yeah, it's here too. Do you want him up here, Ryan?
Yeah, he probably should be. He needs to sit up on this.
These new ones I printed for you guys, by the way, they do include June's expenses and stuff, so. These are the end of June for amount expended current. The previous ones were me. The ones that
Are we previous?
Yes, that's health insurance and the one down below is property.
Yeah.
Some of the things we talked about, we do the general 3% salary increase request. Took insurance down a little bit to more accurately reflect what the current status is of that. Some things that we looked at maybe wanting to do as far as repairs and maintenance next year is when we got that report from the structural engineer, they suggested that we have some tuck pointing done on the building. That's something that we built into the budget. Working on trying to finish up third floor was another set of projects that we looked at, maybe doing some trim in the courtroom, redoing the jury room and the law library to get those looking decent again, you know, kind of, since we have so much done up there, we just kind of want to finish where we started. Take it piece by piece, replace all the ceiling tiles in there, and then use the ones from up there to patch in down here if they match pattern-wise. Just making sure that we're working our way from the top down here. Possibly put some heat and insulation in the garage over there. restore the mower. It's one of the things that we built into the budget. And possibly even partitioning between the two stalls if we can work out storage-wise, a way to get some of the extension stuff out of there. So that's another thing that we've taken into account. I think the other thing that we built in was purchasing a snow blower attachment for the mower out there. Because I think we found that if the snow gets too deep, that broom just won't cut it. It works good in light snow conditions, right?
Yeah, somebody could speak to that.
This is some of the stuff that we built in, the $5,000 for the snow blower. I don't remember the exact amount, but I think it was a little bit less than that, if I remember right. I just can't remember. We built that into 434.40. A lot of the other stuff we built into 425.
I'll just comment on that, I'll be honest with you. To me, it's a big expense to have, because, I mean, I have it, but mine's gonna get old before it ever gets used much. I truthfully would not have a problem. You guys need the help, you know. I mean, the odds of when you're gonna need snow blowed, I mean, to go through that expense, I mean, I've already got it. It just came with my package. I mean, you take it for however you want it.
No, and that's
I mean, I guess, to me, it's a big expense, and then you gotta have more room for it, where truthfully, it's not that big a deal. But if you've gotta blow snow, guaranteed I've gotta blow snow, so.
Okay.
I mean, I'm willing to help you if that's the case.
Sure. It worked out well last year to,
But it's
I
up
just
to you.
followed you around, basically, with my brush.
Yeah. So I mean, it's, you guys take it from there.
Yeah,
I
we
said, I already
definitely
got the expense. I mean, if you,
We don't want to spend any more than we have to, you know, we're trying to keep it as tight as we can,
I
but
just said, I got that expense now, and you take it from there.
there's definitely some maintenance things in this
Okay.
building that we'd like to try and make some improvements on, and or continue the improvements that have been made over the last couple of years.
As far as the installation in the garage and framing that up, I can do that
Dave could probably do a lot of the work himself there.
in-house, so.
We even talked about putting in like a floor drain in there that doesn't necessarily drain out per se, but you know, something that it can percolate down into and work its way out, so. Just stuff that we've been talking about, because if you have heat and insulation in there, you're gonna get melt, and there's nowhere for the melt water to go, it's gonna get into your walls and all that stuff, so. So that's what we built in. Take it for what it's worth and let us know if you think any changes need to be made.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Next is Deb.
I didn't change mine much. I did the same 3% for wages. I didn't fill in the insurance because Becky usually has those numbers that are actual. I lowered a couple of things down below. I think the only thing that raised was services and fees, and that's because I've got another $20,000 coming to Beacon and to pay for my software. And the other ones that I lowered, I kind of looked at the previous 3 years, lowered them a little bit. I think I came down just like $1,000 overall. Or on the bottom. And the top number would be the 3%, the 112,000 for the current staff.
I left everything pretty much the same, or went down besides salary, I went 3%. Insurance, honestly, I really didn't know what to do. In the back of my mind, I knew it was a possibility of me leaving when I did this, so I doubled it from last year. And then for my M&P, I just kept it the same at the 6,000. It's registered deeds.
That's way in the back.
Yeah, way in the back, sorry. It's my own personal fund. If anything possibly that e-recording will be coming up. That probably will be mandatory. I don't know when, maybe half the counties do it now. And then I needed a new computer to support updates last year. I was able to get that out of my NOP. So I left that at the 6,000, same as last year.
Veteran service officer, we left just the same, 3% increase. I upped the repairs and maintenance by $100 due to the expense so far this year. Supplies, he hasn't really needed anything yet. Travel, he wasn't able to go to the conference, but I don't know if there's another conference yet. It's possible. Utilities, I'm not sure if he even has I mean, he's in a different location right now, so I don't know what the final plan is for his office at this time because of the share how bathrooms project.
And where did he move to?
He moved to, I'm not sure where he is right now.
So you've lost an employee?
Yeah. Yeah, I lost him. I mean, he mails us stuff once in a while.
You lost an office.
He's in another city building right now.
Ah.
I believe it's by the finance office thing.
Oh, at Old City Hall?
Yeah. Pretty sure that's where he's at. At one point, it was out of the back of his pickup.
Oh,
So,
that's handy.
predatory animal, we get it from the state. Next is sheriff. I believe we have the right budget entered. I think we have the last one we received.
Yes. Just a small change on it. 3% on the top line, 20% is what I used. The sheriff's services and fees, there's records management that comes out of that, and a few other fees, that's why it is that. And then we'll be done with that, and that'll come down after next year. Our portion of records management will be paid for. Sheriff's supplies are left alone.
Jail, 3% in the wages, 20% in insurance. Services would be the same thing, it's the software technology. This should be the last payment, then it drops down at just maintenance, I believe.
Correct.
I've flip-flopped groceries and supplies. The amounts are still the same, I just flipped them around.
So here's what the deal is with that. We didn't feel the need to split out toilet paper as a separate line item. So we just built that right into supplies.
That one and personal care and,
Groceries we left separate.
yeah.
If you guys want it all separate, I can do that, but it just seems
And
a little
cleaning-
ridiculous.
Cleaning products too. like
Over-the-counter medications, that's
Yeah.
Advil, Tylenol, Band-Aids, things like that. We didn't feel that needed to be split out, really.
Other than that, that's,
But if you want that changed back, just let me know.
yeah, other than that, that's it.
What kind of repairs and maintenance you guys?
Oh, I put 75 in there. It was 50 last year. It all depends on what happens. I don't have a clue. So if it doesn't go anywhere and there's repair, figure there might be a little extra in there.
You don't have any projects scheduled?
You know, it all depends on what's gonna happen. If it don't go anywhere, the fire chief is one of the #1 things. The generator is gonna be out of there too, I'm assuming. Depends on what happens. So I think that was like 20
Your
grand.
generator repairs would be out of there. The fire escape issue,
So I upped
and a
that,
couple other things.
I upped that like 25 grand from last year, for this year, I should say. And then we flopped some of the things around like Becky said, so that was it.
Coroner request, Eric filled that out. It looks like he kept everything the same.
Did you give him the raise?
Yeah, but that was,
That's still within the.
that was in 18 already, so yeah, he just kept everything the same. We're seeing disaster. We built it with a 3% increase. We built it with family health insurance in case that was what was needed. We didn't know it at the time. We don't know at this time. So in the revenue side of things, and I printed that out for you guys to study at home, it is built in there for 30,000 that we'll be receiving for half of the salary and benefits. Or we need Brenda.
Oh, I have that. Basically, 3% on the wages, 20% on the insurance. All the other services remain the same except for funeral expense went up by $1,500, and that's to reflect the cost of burial went up. So basically, we plan for about 30 a year, so, and that just reflects the cost of what they shot us for indigent burial.
Can I interrupt for a minute? Are you kind of done with us?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
On the, just one other thing on the poor, we kept that number down on medical care again. As we talked about, it all is really whether we're gonna be held responsible to pay. Like this year, we're already, and I think I've already told you that we're already over budget on that because we dropped it. Last year, we had it up at about 50,000, we dropped it down to 10. I did the same thing this year, so you can see that we're already over budget on the medical care, about 4,300. And that will go up, just FYI.
Okay.
This next one is what we give to NESCAP every year. Board 21 is the county nurse, and that was already set by motion. Board 24 was set also by motion as ambulance, it's 31,000 total, which is 15,500 to each. Other health, I didn't know what to do with other health. Because are we going to be doing any spraying or aren't we gonna be doing any spraying? Other health is for mosquitoes. So I just filled in what I did and was wanting guidance.
Well, we got a meeting tomorrow, so we'll know something.
Well, the weed board has a meeting, but are they even responsible for mosquitoes? I don't think so. I think that's this board.
Weed and pest, aren't they?
Yeah. So you tell me.
I just assume that, but I don't know
I
that
mean,
for sure.
Yeah, it's weed and pests, so does that include mosquitoes? I don't know.
It always has.
Well, don't you think the guy would try to work something out with if the guy hires somebody to do the other two?
Well, I would think it'd all be one job, weed and mosquitoes.
Which is fine, but that's why I didn't know what to do with this budget, because I didn't know, if, you know, we're surplusing the backpack sprayer, and I didn't know if we were gonna continue to do spraying at all.
Well,
That's why I
I
wanted,
would hope not a lot, but
so that's why I didn't know what to put in there for their salary or anything.
We'll know more after tomorrow
Right.
for our
Which
next
is-
meeting.
I mean, if the weed board is leaning towards a part-time seasonal person, then we don't need any health insurance built in,
Well,
you
we
know,
should-
things like that.
We should know by next
we'll know
meeting.
that tomorrow, or should.
So we'll know by next meeting.
So just leave it
Yep.
till then. Mentally ill stuff, I think we had Jamie and Brenda work on that. And just kind of increased as the expenses show for previous years. That's another one you can't guess. Developmentally disabled, we have that expense, it's 720 is what that should be, that should not be 750. And it's the one amount, once a month. Next one will be mental health services and fees or grant to other entities, that's the amount of money that you guys have given to Northeastern Mental Health every year. I don't know if you want to keep that the same.
38?
Yeah, page 38.
I didn't leave it the same, huh?
How much do you get for some health now?
15,500.
Did you want to look at these?
I was just curious.
Keep it the same.
The next one is mental board services and fees, that's Yankton stuff. That's something we can't guess, we increased it by, looks like an increase of $500. The museum, they just would like the 4,500 again, they didn't ask for an increase. With the parks the same, we haven't spent any money out of there yet this year. Senior citizens, Ryan was discussing with Mobridge.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to look into their financial statement or anything like that. I'm gonna help them out doing some grant applications. They kind of expressed to me that they're having trouble with their fundraising goals. So they might need a little bit of additional income, but I don't know exactly what it would be. And if you do it for a while, probably have to do it. So I'll kind of do a little research in the interim and get back with you guys.
At this point, we give 2,000 to Mobridge and 2,000 to Selby for their nutrition.
I think it's a worthy cause. It's a good thing to put a little extra money to if we can help them stay afloat. You know, their equipment's aging out, and that's part of what they want me to help them write grant for.
The other side.
TV translator, I put in the same as what it has been. I don't know if we're gonna have the counties pay. It'll depend because right now we're still working with one of the towers on trying to get it sold. If we aren't able to get it sold, we may have the expense of bringing it down. If we do, then the 100,000 we made off the other tower, we might have to use them funds for that. So at this time, I don't know if the counties will have to pay next year or not. We're waiting on negotiations. And I'm sure everyone on this board knows how that
Cable's
goes.
on one side.
And now Brenda.
Which one do you want first?
Well, Jamie did 4, all you've got is extension the way it looks.
Okay. Okay, great. I got my figures in there, and I kind of found that 46 by taking, if it was a 3% raise, it'd be 1,588 times 2,080 hours. Came to $33,030.40. As secretary, I get 16 hours at $1,588, which came up to 832 hours, which is $13,212.16. which brought it to $46,242.56.
You don't have the extension lady built in, Sherry?
Yes, I do, at full. She would be the 33,000, the 2,080 hours.
Oh, okay.
And then Mia, 16 hours, or your secretary, is a total of 832 hours in a year. Comes to $13,212.16. You know, there are times, which brings me to $46,242.56. And I had 46,506. I was looking at some numbers, and Amanda kind of helped me with this, and I know that 46,000 I told you, and it would include the money that you would take Medicare out of and retirement and some of them other things. And then healthcare was about $26,500, and that was figured at 20% above. As you can see, we left the insurance the same, the services and fees, the rentals, repairs, extension supplies, travel, utilities, all that we feel we can do really good with at that. Last year, beginning balance for the extension salary, but I think Becky only figured half a Sherry's salary in that, because it will look in the negative at the end of this year, because right now we've expended $22,399.29 and only have $12,671 left. The busiest part of our year is coming up, of course, you know, with achievement days and then state fair and recognition event. So usually from the end of July till about the middle of October is where a big part of the hours go. Normally it has worked out pretty well. I try to have things done beforehand for Jamie in my 2 offices for him, because that week I usually will be 40 hours, and then the next week will probably be 40 hours in Jamie's offices. I know Becky sees those numbers, and sometimes it's more in one, less in another, but on the average, I think, Becky, wouldn't you agree, it kind of evens out through the year? You know, because you just don't know any given day. I might not be needed in 4-H, but I might be needed in his office. So I guess that's kind of my thoughts on what I thought or put together. And again, I know that Becky's probably a lot better with that salary stuff than I am.
And just so you guys know, in the revenue budget, one of the lines is 1010339. That is where legislative audit told me to receipt in the money from Campbell County for their half. So we have to have it as a budget item on ours and receipt it in the revenue account that way. Therefore, it looks like we're paying her entire expenses, but we're not. We're actually receiving in revenue to offset it. It is 1010339. Listed as other intergovernmental revenue, and that's where legislative audit told me to receive that in at.
So it doesn't, we actually have the money and we're not actually over budget, but it looks that way. Now this year it should be better when it's all here, but by the end of the year, that money will be able to be used to pull out of that budget. And after this year, we should be caught up enough that will flow correctly, won't it, Becky? Or it won't seem as off kilter.
It's still gonna look like this because of the way they want us to receipt it in. So it's still gonna appear that we're paying all of her expenses ourselves.
Right.
But we're actually not, because we're getting revenue.
So we can pull that money out and use it next year. Right. So, but it's like that health savings account. It takes a while before you see it.
No, they reimburse. So it's after we spend it, we get it back. It's not before.
Any questions? Any thoughts?
So all of this is going on. And then if you look at these numbers, so it's actually on this page right here.
Oh, and I should tell you that extension health insurance is a little more because Sherry is a family and I'm just a single. So that makes a big difference. That's why we've seen such a huge increase, and not only that, but adding the 20% that Becky had said to add for health insurance to cover any costs, so. And that makes a huge difference. Because I think Sherry's is $1,778 a month and mine is $881. Because I'm just a single plan. So, the two biggest things that I see on that extension budget would be in the salary, and all of those accounts underneath and the health insurance. Those would be your biggest increases.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, great, thank you. Sorry for making you wait for me.
So soil conservation, Linda came in and visited with me about it. I told her at this meeting you guys were just gonna look through requests. She said that we could probably lower it, because right now it's costing her about $1,000 a month. But we don't know what's gonna happen as far as an increase for next year, so we're kind of trying to wait to see what's gonna happen, because she said she has the same plan as us, same kind of plan as us now. So I told her we would leave it at the same as last year instead of lowering it and not having enough. We don't have to give it all to them until we find out more anyway. But once we find out, if we find out it's gonna be $1,000 a month, then we can lower it to 12,000 or just pay them 12,000 if it's too late to lower it at that point. I mean, we'd rather have it as close to accurate as possible, but. Weed and pests. You see it. Well, I don't know.
That's fine.
They send contracting out.
That, I just threw that in there, but that was before I discussed with them the last 2 days about getting part-time seasonal. So it would all have to change. We'll just have to see what they do tomorrow. Our meeting is at 9. Somebody wanna grab Greg, please?
Ready up here? Okay. Okay.
Greg's at lunch.
Looks like a 3% increase, 20% for insurance, and everything else is the same. There's not much expense this year yet. I don't know if he anticipates some towards the end of the year or what. His budget was $6,700 for expenses, and he's only spent $96.22, so I don't know if he needs $6,700 in there or not. Maybe when he gets back, we'll still be in here. Transfers out the 12,000 that I have built in is for the fire departments. Next is highway.
Highway.
I'm sorry.
You were kind of zoning there.
Yeah. Too many numbers. 3% pay increase. I think might be a number I have in there for insurance is it's gonna be way too high. What are we at the end of June, Becky?
68,376.
Yeah, see, we're gonna be way under even for this year. So that will have to get changed. Everything else is pretty much the same
So we put in there 150,000,
for insurance.
170,000.
Well, I'm thinking it's gonna be closer to what this year's budget. actually was, but if we're at 68, that's 142, that's 30,000+ more than what we needed. And I did a 20% increase, because that's what everybody said to do, so.
You gotta, you know, you wanna keep in mind that you might have some retirements this coming year.
No, nothing more, no. Nobody said a word, I held it.
You're gonna lose one.
Yeah.
I haven't been told that.
Told me. November.
So that one could possibly change the family.
Huh?
That one could possibly change the family. So you wanna have.
Yeah, but I'm not saying to cut it, but
Right.
it is not gonna be $210,000.
Right.
You just wanna wait till the next meeting?
Yeah, that's a better idea. Okay, otherwise everything else is the same. Now you gotta remember, my budget does not come out of general fund. So that's all I've got. Yep.
The next thing is wheel tax. That's the 10% wheel tax that we give to the cities. That's just, we're a flow through, we get the money from the state and we give it to the city of Mulbridge. And so that's offset, it's built in revenue 61,000 and it's built in expense 61,000. Fire protection. If we get the fires from the fire departments, then we spend close to 19,000, but it depends on how many fires they get and if they report them. We requested the information from the city of Mulbridge. I don't know how many years we've gone without getting their fires. They just won't give them to us.
They must not need the fund.
We pay them $50 per fire that they respond to. And then a set amount also comes out of that. That's where that 12,500 went, the set amount. 12,000. And the rest was fires reported. Pretty hard to get those out of them.
Where do we have this other law enforcement supplies when it's in that other account?
There's zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just previous accounts that used to use. Cause the next one is, I believe, DARE. No, domestic abuse is the next one that's used. I've been getting rid of things we don't use over the years as legislative audits come and done their audits and confirmed we don't need them, but we used to use them. Domestic abuse, it's based on how much money we take in, and it's money taken in for marriage licenses.
Perfect.
That sounds like domestic abuse.
And, so it's just a guess. It's a guess of how many marriages there should be. So it pays for domestic abuse, but that's money that we give to churches.
Very good domestic abuse.
24/7 we don't have anymore. M&P, that's what Michael was talking about earlier. She just left it the same. DARE, we had increased it last year and because we were overspending every year, so I think we just left it the same. We spent a little less this year so far. I don't know if you're spending any more, but right now your current expenses are at like $560. But I left it at 800. Let's maybe go back to Greg and then do landfill, if that's okay? Because he's here now.
Sure, do that.
Yeah,
Do
I
you-
left mine unchanged from last year.
This is back to 101, which is page 50. Do you anticipate bigger expenses coming?
Not unless we would need the services of NACOG or something like that again, but I'm not really anticipating that. Maybe more, a little more publishing, but that was okay for last year, so just anticipating in case we did need something.
Just looks like you cut it a little bit because you're not using anything.
Yeah, I mean, we could, but that's, like I said, in anticipation, something would be needed.
Are there any conferences and stuff you go to?
There has been, yeah, I didn't go last year, but it coincided with a different one, an assessor one.
Because that, your travel is $2,000. I
Yeah.
think you use the county car for most things, so that would be
I have,
your
yeah.
supplies for gas.
Yeah, we could lower that.
Looks like we'd almost cut that one in half.
Yeah, that's fine.
It'd still be,
You'd still have plenty. I mean, if one person goes to a conference, it's gonna be approximately, what, $500? Somewhere around there for,
3 days maybe.
Yeah.
Then,
for lodging, meals, for,
Yeah, maybe 500.
when you cut it to $1,500 or to $500, I think would be safe.
Yeah, that's fine.
500.
That probably was the way it was because a board member.
right, see, yeah, and that's services and fees also, and I think they're,
That was when we were doing the ordinances, was that high?
yeah. Well, salary, they get paid once a year out of salary, so the salary of all of that is board members,
So there's any changes there.
yeah. Depending on how many hours Greg puts in.
Yeah.
Same way with services and fees, I mean, we should be able to knock that down too.
I mean, do you anticipate
Yeah, but you can
having
knock that
DPW
down, that
do
was just
anything
kind of an
this
insurance policy in case something did come up.
Unless you're thinking of making any changes to the zoning ordinance or something like that.
That's kind of why it was in there, but
It'd be nice to have DPW's guidance.
Some of the supplies, I mean, you're at $1,500 and you use $7.20. I mean,
that year's not over yet.
Christmas?
Yeah, I had my eye on this GPS tracking device.
I think just go over them when you, at home yourselves, and I think there's some adjustments we can make there. Ryan?
I did the standard 3%, 20% for the salary portion of things. Services and fees I took back a little bit because I don't anticipate any major consultations that are gonna be needed this year. Just standard stuff, updating some plans and doing the annual survey, that kind of thing. This tweak something a little bit, I wasn't really using that much for publishing this year, so drop that down a little bit. Rentals, 424, we probably have to change if deal with that building goes through. So we probably only add about 12,000 to that.
So change that to
17. repairs and maintenance, I upped a little bit because my equipment's starting to age out and I got a piece of equipment coming off of warranty next year. Just wanted to have a little bit of extra in there to hedge against that. Supplies left basically the same. Should be pretty consistent unless fuel takes a really dramatic spike. Utilities up a bit. Kept 25,000 in for equipment in case something that surplus catches my eye, but other than that. Still planning on maybe replacing the pickup truck this year, the money I have budgeted for, but we got a couple other pieces of equipment that I'm just waiting to come available from surplus.
Any stills or anything that I can use?
You're on camera here. Going with the revenue after.
You'll wanna study the revenue budget as well.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion on the floor, you need a second? All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion passed.